slow with it either. Show those folks how we heat up. Mercury rose in the meter. Fire we admire.
Oh, they're on! They jump right on his head! They found who they need! That's a big shot down! He hooks himself back in! They want it! Kisei's not here, but what was that? It's a pentakill! Go 1-for-1 into Shun. Fire gets slammed into the wall to actually go to Olaf. There's the access shot! And he just come up and down! Tries he might release the tempo active, but he can never find a second. Chippies is on an absolute tear right now.
Good evening. We've got another day of LCO split 2, and of course, as feeling like tradition, I've got a new fresh face next to me. We've got Dajong here joining me, and Skippy, you've got a fresh face next to you. Fido all the way on the end of the couch. How are you boys doing?
This couch keeps changing. I'm getting a different friend every different day, mate. How are we?
Exciting stuff. I mean, first time in the LCO broadcast, feels like a big family here. Yeah,
it is.
I was trying to count how many people I've had on this couch. We've had Tally, we've had Max, we've had Destiny, we've had Poltron.
Yep.
Now, Dajong, you're reaching the ranks of some of the greats.
I mean, it feels great. I mean, this time I can't be flamed. I can be the one doing the flaming, so can't lose.
That's actually why you agreed to do it. You were just like, hey, no one can come for me, but now I get to say everything. All of it is in my reins. But you guys, I'm very happy that you're going to be joining us. We obviously saw you both play yesterday as well. And in case you guys at home missed it, well, we got a nice little highlight package for you about what happened yesterday.
Damage to complement the Blight stacks as the second dragon comes to life. Call of the Forge God goes out, knocks up 3 members. Rosie is the focus right now, but the Feign is onto Mayfire, who falls on down. Dante picks up that next one. Into the back line goes Thomasino, looking to try and knock them down with all-out mode. He's going to die and give Fido a 5th, but it doesn't matter because Fido died in the end. Forced away very early here by Mayfan, jumping back into the pit. Are they going to make this a 50-50? I dare believe it as they jump in with Thomasino. They found Jake. The Baron is down to 2600, getting closer and closer to the smite range right now. 2K, 20 HP! It was so close forever! I commend you for the attempt. Your son is there. Chen now making his move known as well. Hex Flash goes across. Quick miss. It's missed! They've not found who they're after. They can get a Charmer to Aladoric, but that might be it. Blake, Kisei jumps in with a flash. And the tip is right after to try and make it all happen. And they found 2 so far. The Moonlight Vigil's just not enough to get Tien, but it is! The Chakrams for max distance guarantee it. 30 health with name. Ray's very lucky to be alive. No 80 carries in this fight, but a massive Wukong knock-up, but an even better fight. Tippers goes down. The rocket from downtown is not enough to try and find an executioner, but Kisei has done just that and demolished 2 members. Something about this part of the map at this portion of the game time is just cursed. Kisei with 3.
Well, it was a nice day for some people playing yesterday, a little bit harder for some of the others, but you can bounce back, can't you, Dajon?
Yeah, I mean, when we're versing you, Fido?
When?
Oh, that's
like
week
week
5 for us.
Week 5, that's
Week
it.
5.
Yeah.
We'll get 2-0 then, so I'll bounce back then.
You wish. That's the biggest cope I've heard.
Whoa, we're already going for it. I thought we were supposed to be throwing shade at the players playing today, not each other, but we're going to see our standings to see where all the teams are sitting after what happened yesterday. Chiefs getting themselves that unfortunate 2-0. I have to say unfortunate 2-0 because obviously, Dajong, you sitting next to me. I've got to be on your side here. I've got to be Mammoth's side.
If I wasn't here, what are you going to say?
I was going to say, congratulations to Chiefs for coming in first. 9 points for themselves. My gosh, could you imagine? That's looking good. That's miles above Team Bliss, who are in second place on 4 points, but they haven't played yet. And obviously, as we work our way down, it's Direwolves, Ground Zero, Pentanet, Mammoth, Kenga, and then Vertex. So there's a lot of room for things to be shaken up in this ladder.
Look at the ties in 4th right now. I mean, everybody looking to, sit in the magical number 2, it seems to be, at this stage. So, yeah, obviously a lot of games where strength of schedule have favored certain squads. But, as it goes on and once Super Weeks start to arrive, I'm expecting this ladder to completely shake up. So, yeah, exciting times ahead. And obviously some banger games tonight.
Yeah, I was trying to do the maths to see if there's a way that we could continue this 4-way tiebreaker for 4th there. And there is, because the game's playing out today. could result in Ground Zero and Pentanet picking themselves up losses, because for today it's Team Bliss going up against Ground Zero as our opener, and then Direwolves up against Pentanet. Pick of the day, series of the day, sorry, Dajong?
I'm definitely looking at the Direwolves PGG series. I think they were 3rd and 4th last split. I think they're very close in skill level and both very good teams. I think a lot of the games going to depend on draft, because I think they're very similar skilled, and we'll see how each of it pans out.
Yeah, a lot relying on draft. What about you, Fido? Is it the same sort of series for the same reasons, or something completely different?
Yeah, I think it's a 50-50 matchup on paper, but when I think about Direwolves, I think about a team that plays very standard, right? Chaz just pushes his lane, links up with his jungle. Their top side's quite stable, and so they just play for those objectives and team fights. And when I think of Pentanet, they have Schönfire, and I have so much respect for Schönfire's understanding of the game. And if you're trying to play a standard macro game against Schönfire, it's going to be tough.
Okay, let's say you had the options of coming up against an opponent that was unpredictable. You never knew what they were going to draft, but they were like really volatile, hit and miss. Or another opponent where you always knew what they were going to draft, but they executed to like the highest degree. Which one would you rather come up against?
I'd rather the unexpected, definitely.
Okay.
I think, well, like maybe it's not draft per se, but like for PGG, for example, everyone knows Violet's the one guy's just going to carry, but like, you know it's going to happen, and sometimes it happens anyway. There's nothing you can do against it, and I think that's most frustrating. Well, if teams throw curveballs at your way, like, I think that's very fun to play against, even if, like, obviously you want to win, but I think those kind of matches are what's more exciting for us and for the fans. So
Yeah, you can lose having fun.
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't like curveballs. I don't like when level 1 every game, 5 people come mid and blow my phone.
I wonder why. I wonder why.
I was wondering if that
What's
was
up with
going to be
that?
brought up.
Yeah, not a big fan. So just play standard, please. Thanks.
Yeah, very understandable. Obviously, you guys both being mid laners, we wanted to have a bit of a chat about what's happening in the mid lane for LCO, champion-wise, but also what's happening around the world, because with this patch, we're seeing some different things occurring in LCO when it comes to the bot lane, but in mid lane as well, there is some similarities, but slight discrepancies, Skim.
Yes, obviously the top two between us and you know, the big 4 regions globally on patch 13.11 seem to be the same, right? Ari and Annie, no surprises there. Great wave clear, great push potential, great CC initiation. The variation tends to be when you look at the likes of Azir and Gragas being found to be played in the mid lane a fraction more compared to what we've seen here. We're seemingly a big advocate for Lissandra, yet to find a win, but has definitely been there. Same for the Stardust as well, almost one of those champions where it's like, you know, it's going to be a rough matchup, but I just think I'm mechanically better than you, so I'm going to take that gamble. So many great ultimates to deny as well. And I think what we were curious about, Nat, is like, given that we've got 2 mid laners that I would say have kind of distinct takes on the meta right now. I feel like you've been playing a lot of the hyper carries, looking to try and do what you can for the side of Kanga, whereas I feel like for you, Dajong, it's been a lot more like, you know, I want to facilitate my team, I've got a great squad around me, what can I do to try and make their job easier? How have you found things, given that, you know, it is very much better ADC wins, it seems like? Are you enjoying the meta at the moment?
I think with the current next patch, they changed the mid lane goal, changing the wave timings. I think that changed a lot for us. And I think right now, it just depends on who gets prior, and I think that's what's most important for mid lane right now. Like, you can go 10, 20 CS up, and if the enemy mid laner, like, helped your bot lane die once, I feel like you're actually losing lane or like losing the game, because your 10, 20 CS lead doesn't actually amount to much at the end of the day. While like your ADC being ahead, like a kill and a plate, just I feel like ruins the game for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we're distinct differently. We're different players, you and I, but I don't think it's because we can't play the same champions. I think it's just because of the teammates. You've got Tien, he's got a wide champion pool. He likes to counterpick the Poppy, you know, the occasional Riven, the Kindred top, of course. And I've got a Karma top. So I got to be the one that's last picking. And yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with either style, and you can really make it work as long as everybody commits to it.
Do you think the teammates are also an influence as to why we're seeing in other regions certain champs, but for us it's still, it feels like almost anything could work? And do you think that's the reason why, is the teammates that's like really reliant on that?
Yeah, and also just like what you see is what you get. You see something in scrims, it's good, cool, I'll play it. And if nobody's playing it, so it's sort of like a plague, you know, this LeBlanc thing. 13.11 came around, no one's playing LeBlanc. And now, a week into it, everybody's starting to play it. Even though it was already strong a week ago, it's just nobody was trying it out. And now that everyone's seen the strength, it's been very popular.
Just takes that one person, right, to like, you know, almost be like, oh, I'm courageous enough to go on a stage game. Boom.
Yeah, you get to refine it in the back ends of scrims a little bit. Someone finally pulls out and you're like, all right, see, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for. Are there any other champs that you guys wish you could make work that like just hasn't worked yet, or you can't get your team on board?
I want to say it hasn't worked, but obviously Zoe, I just think it really depends on the draft, and it's just very specific when it's available. Obviously, when it is, I'm gonna take it instantly.
Sure.
But really hoping to increase my Zoe win rate in pro.
That's my thing, bro. I'm always screaming and
Had the
saying like,
stats.
Dajun, he's the guy. That is the Zoe play. And I look at the win rate. I'm like, God, so sad.
You and me both.
Yeah, maybe Kale as well. Kale, super strong champion. We see a lot of, you know, the Cassante mid, the Cassante top, and it is just a counter. But for some reason, even though pro play is notoriously slower than solo queue, how can it work in solo queue but it doesn't work in pro play, even though pro play is slower? Doesn't make sense in my head. I feel like it should work, but people just haven't experimented enough with it.
Okay, I might be poking a little bit at the memory here, but what is the craziest champ for like pro play that you can remember that worked in mid lane? That you're just like, you saw it in a pro game and you're like, that is illegal. That should not be able to do what it did.
What was it? Was it
Def.
Caps playing Vayne mid?
Yeah, Vayne mid, definitely.
Yeah.
Lock me in the Vayne, guys, trust me. And then, you know, they're losing the game, he makes one play, they come back. And
That's
yeah.
cool.
For me, I feel like it's definitely the Kai'Sa mid.
Sure.
Like Faker played it once, and the whole world was just like, I'm playing it now.
That was the AP Kai'Sa mid,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
With the W.
With
and
the
just-
Halo Blades, and like
Yep.
he played it specifically as a counter match for LeBlanc. So LB W's forward to trade with you. You just eat into a face and you just hard trade until death. And that was basically the strategy for it. And then everyone around the road was like, oh, let me try AP Kai'Sa. Oh my god, I hit 2 Ws in a row. This is so fun. I'm gonna just play it infinitely.
Dopamine. Woo, I'm having so much fun, guys.
And I think everyone carried the hype all the way through.
Sure.
I love it. I kind of want that to come back around again, like something working out in mid. And you're just like, this just feels so dirty. This shouldn't work at all. But I've loved talking to you guys about those mid lane matchups, the champions that we may or may not be seeing in LCO picked up there. But it's time, guys. We have the fun that is LCO Champion Conundrum.
Is today the day luck's with you? Is it now your life could read you? Then you must play the game, cause I have to proclaim life's a game of chance.
What a save, Nat. Nobody even knew.
No, why did you have to call it
Well,
out?
production magic.
Production,
someone had to do it.
Production magic. You get your color pick, whatever color you want.
There's no red for mammoths.
Oh, can we fix that? Do we have a red in the, no?
I'll have
we got
black.
a red here.
I'll have black.
Oh, you got
Close
red over
enough.
there. Do you want to
wanna
throw
toss
us the red?
Oh.
Like, you can have red, mate.
Cheers.
Feel at home.
Alright, I'll
Gotta
take that
support the
one back.
team.
I'll take that one back. Okay. Alrighty. Everyone's got their
Money.
pens. Everyone's got their whiteboards, their erasers. Okay, I think we're all ready. This time around for LCO Conundrum, we're doing our inventory. Price is right. So we're going to throw up an image. It's going to be filled to the brim with some spectacular items. And
We don't know these.
Yeah.
Right? We've not seen any of these.
I've never
So
done this
I'm
before.
already super curious. Are they going to be mid lane inventories to make it easy for our
Ooh.
guest, or are they going to be completely
I hope they
random?
make it as difficult for our guests as possible.
Me too. Because then we don't feel as bad if we get it
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah, exactly. If all
How
of
about
get
us? What
wrong,
if we
it's
get it
great,
wrong?
it's great.
Well then, I don't know. Like,
Well, I got no defense
You're
for
stuck
you.
on the couch
you
with us now.
So we're going to see one of our first inventories coming up. We're going to guess how much it is all
Dude.
worth. Bro,
What is that?
what? All right, let me just...
I know every single one but one. Like, I have no clue how much that costs.
Oh,
I'm,
no.
I'm doing math. I'm
Wait,
doing
I didn't do
math.
my maths?
I'm going to put that random number. Okay, I've got mine. You guys ready? You can't carry the one. You gotta, and then you gotta carry the two.
Erase,
And- oh my
erase.
god, you just...
I'll just make it bigger.
I don't know.
Look at my maths. It looks so wrong now.
Yeah, okay, now looking at your answer, I feel like I'm really wrong. All right, are we all flipping at the same time?
Yes.
Let's
All
do
right,
it.
3, 2, 1. I'm so off. 5,375. Who was the closest?
Ooh, I think we got a winner over here.
No,
Ooh, 5-4-7.
5425.
5425.
wow.
And you
That
went
is literally-
5475.
Wow.
Dajon,
Look.
I didn't have
Right,
time
you
to do my
wanna
maths.
you're good. You're really close.
Damn.
I mean, most of them were midline items, so
Okay, so they did make it easy for you guys.
yeah.
Well, look, you were great. It was by 50 goals.
What did you have?
We're not going to run that one back. We're
Talk
gonna,
about it.
You know
we're
what?
just going to go straight on to the next one. And I'm not even going to bother looking at the items. I'm just going to guess.
Number.
Just start now.
I was under pressure when production was just like, quickly, quickly, quickly.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Cassante items, of course.
All right, I already got my answer. Oh, easy.
Wow.
Easy game. You're literally doing the maths over there.
I'm actually doing the math.
I give up. My brain hurts.
No, I want to change mine. I just guessed enough. All right.
I think I've done the math wrong. Uh-oh.
I think I did the math wrong too. All right, you guys, everyone's ready? All right, 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh, 13,650.
I got 13,000.
350.
So you were 1,050 off. You were also.
Oh, wow.
I'm quite a
Oh
bit
no, you
off,
were
I think.
closer.
I'm on a budget.
You're closer.
Yeah, less than 1,000. You're less than 1,000 off.
Oh.
And oh wait, no, you are.
Wait, am I?
It
Oh,
was,
you're
sorry,
very
I
close.
thought I read
No, no, no,
14,000.
yeah,
I thought
yeah.
I read 14,000
Skinny.
down here. But you're closer to
13,000.
Skimmy. Yep, you're only 650 off. And yeah, you're a little bit off there.
Yeah.
You're about 1,000.
Mastiff.
Math diff. Yeah, I panicked when you just like, you get the message in your ear and you're like, all right, you got 5 seconds. I'm like, I've literally only added 2 numbers
Like,
together.
4 plus 6 is
32.
bang.
21.
Every time.
Well, it was a lot of fun. I was very wrong with the first one, but I didn't feel as bad about myself on the second one.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
And that's called progress and growth and
And
love
growth.
and acceptance.
Yeah, and I
Love that
accept
for you.
myself for all my League of Legends flaws.
Well, there you go.
Like just randomly buying items without actually knowing the cost
Well,
of
there
them.
you go.
I'll take that one back. I'll take these ones back.
You
And while
pop
we're
this to the
putting
side
these
later.
all away, Al, from the fans segment, guys, I got to tell you, we put another question out there like we do every day for you to answer us on Twitter. Please don't leave us on red. That would make us very sad. You can tweet at us using hashtag LCO because today our question was, now there have been a lot of new skins that have come out since we last asked. So we want to know, what is your favorite League of Legend champion skin? It could be old, it could be the same as when we last asked it, or it could have been something new. We got one fan that said rock solid.
What do you reckon, boys? What do you reckon, Fighter, mate?
Really, man. Out of all the skins,
Yeah.
this one,
Is this a dub or is this a massive L?
I think it's an L.
Oh, unfortunate,
Fat
brother.
L.
Unlucky B, mate.
It happens sometimes. I'm going to put it out there. I think Pharaoh Mimu is my favorite. Always has been, always will be. Nothing can ever top.
The pressing question on that we need to ask our pros here is, do skins equal wins? If you look good, do you play good?
Yeah.
For
They do.
sure, for sure.
Yeah?
You play IGLB, you go static shift, you're 13 CS a minute.
feel like a world
Guaranteed.
champion?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what rank you are, 13 CS a minute.
Bang.
Exactly. I
Done.
mean, Cowbell Alistair with the move.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
that's the best skin in the game.
That's enough of a taunt that like it tilts everyone else on the enemy team, and that's the mental diff. That's how
That's
you
it.
win. That skin will definitely give you wins. But we've had a lot of fun. Fun used, you know, loosely there on how you
We've
saw
had some winners.
the LCO
Us.
winners. Yeah, I was like, well, I don't know why you're looking this way. We're gonna have some winners in our teams as well. Our first matchup. Let's take a bit of a look at these two teams. Because my, oh my, Ground Zero, they've put on a bit of a showing. They do have 2 points for themselves. They've been able to get draws against PGG recently, and as well as yourself over there, Fido and Kenka.
Yeah, it was a close game for us against them. Definitely the top laner popped off on the Olaf, and I think that's something that you can't afford to do if you're Bliss. Giving this top laner Olaf or Gwen in a favorable matchup, he can just run away with the game.
Yeah, I think really for me what stood out in their victory against PGG was the ease of execution, the amount of engagements they had, like a Sion, Maokai, Ari, and a Rakan. 4 champions that can come at you from any different angle. It didn't have to be the standard front to back. It was a case of, you know, overwhelm you with pressure. And PGG, as a result, looked a little bit lost as how they wanted to try and handle that one. So I think if they can find themselves another similar draft and that kind of avenue of just, yeah, we come at you with too many different threats to handle, they can definitely cause another upset and, you know, take another game away from a big team here now.
Sometimes all it takes is just a draw. You know, if you're drawing every time, like slowly those 1 points are gonna add up. You might not be sitting in the top 3, but
Yes, Scooby!
go babe!
Jeez,
That was a
man.
real pop-up, let's be real. It doesn't matter what happens in the Rift. It's all about what you're doing in the winner's camera there. Big shout out to Gooby. Team Bliss, I know it's a bit of a winner's cam sort of person himself with these different dances, Dajong.
Oh, he's a demon. I mean, when you lose, you just know he's got dancing on you. It's just like,
Oh no.
He's
it's
emoting.
in your head rent free.
Yeah, 100%. He's just emoting on you, IRL. But like, how do you reckon this team shapes up for the hype they had in Split 1? Obviously, you took a game away from them as well. Do you rank their chances again in Split 2?
Yeah, I think this is a very solid team, right? And they got the new support Akia, and I think it really depends how they integrate him to the team and like the cohesion he has with the rest of his players. I think he's still like learning English especially and learning to play with this new team. I think once that finalizes, they'll be a very deadly team and can really make it far.
Do you think he's been a big difference maker, Fido, when you look at this team and when you're sort of prepping up for whenever you will eventually have to verse them?
Yeah, I mean, I have a soft spot for Benvi, so shout out to him. But I do think that Arkia will just scale into the team. Like you said, language barrier, new environment, new region. You got to give him a little bit of time, and then we'll see the best of them.
How would you rate their mid laners? Obviously, 2 mid laners here. How would you rate them? If you had to rank them, I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to make you do it.
Like out of 10?
I was just going to put one above each other, but if you want to give me numbers, I'm all down for that one too.
Maybe I spoke too soon. I would say Daystar's ahead right now of Emphas. Like, I love Emphas. He's a GOAT. Yeah.
Well, you don't have to tell me how much you love Emphas. You can just tell him yourself because we got him here. He's joining us for an interview. Emphas, hello. How are you feeling for your matchup against Team Bliss?
I'm like shitting my pants right now.
Why? What is it? What is it about Team Bliss? Is it like the whole team as a roster? Is it specifically that mid lane? Like, what is it?
Yeah, like they kind of just have like a Korean mid laner. It's not like really fair, is it?
The import diff, huh?
Yeah, like I don't know.
So, Emphas, something I wanted to ask you today. I'm gonna be asking all the people we're interviewing today this. How'd you come up with your in-game name for your pro name, Emphas?
That is a long story. I'm sure you know, but I won't be revealing myself on stream. It's a bit not safe for work, I think.
Can you give us the TLDR, the general like, oh, it's related to my friends gave me this, and then it became my in-game nickname.
It's related to one champion in the game.
Okay, all right. We can definitely leave the in-game name question to there. What do you think you have over Team Bliss, though, despite maybe pooping your pants? Is there anything else that you have an advantage on?
Yeah, you're really putting me on the spot right now.
That's my job. That's what I'm paid the big bucks for.
Yeah, look, hopefully, like, I guess we could maybe take a tour if the mid laner like disconnects halfway through the game, but apart from that, yeah.
Gotta have more confidence.
Yeah, a bit more confidence. Emphas, how much, for the viewers, how much Vayne practice, in practice still, how much have you done? How much have you warmed up for this game?
Oh, I spent like 45 minutes on Vayne just before this game.
There you go.
I'm sure Fido and maybe Dajong both know, like, before all of my matches, I just go into practice still and I just spam Vayne for like an hour.
Yeah.
Is that like a pre-game ritual? Do you always do it, or is it just something?
Yeah, like every week I just go into practice tour, play Vayne, turn on my Spotify playlist, and I just
Jamming to New Jeans.
Yeah, New Jeans, Blackpink.
I love it. I love it. You might have to drop us the Spotify links so maybe I can start getting on whatever's happening in the mid lane there. But Emphas, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate the insight and good luck today.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully there's not too much of a mess at the end of this tour for him to... I mean, sorry for this best of two.
Oh, best of 2-0.
Nat, you're leaking the script.
Can't do
Look,
that.
you can't do that.
We can't show them the magic.
I was thinking
Look,
about the interview where he said to
These
us.
players are going to want to come back, and they're going to be so concerned when you interview them next going, hang on, there's a script. It's been written. We're
Exactly.
here. They've not been shown. Only we've seen the script, not them. They're going to be upset now.
I meant best of two. I meant best of two.
It happens, mate. It happens.
Oh, I feel awful now. Do you think it is that like nerve-wracking though? Do you have a team like that for you guys where sometimes just the org name you're like, oh, do we really have to burst them?
I mean, well, especially in my previous years, we were in the weaker teams. I mean, I had a split when I went 0-21, 21-0 Chiefs. Like, every time we verse them, it's like, here we go again.
The
like,
mental warfare.
maybe if we, like, luck out really hard, we can, like, make the game go above 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's placebo, right? Like,
Yeah.
you keep playing against this team, you keep losing, you're like, I can't win. But maybe all those games were close. Maybe you could have just won good decision and the game would have been different. But because the results there, it's just haunting you in the back of your mind. You make one mistake, you blow your flash mid-level 1, you're like, I've lost again.
Is that I have to ask this actually. I didn't get to ask after you guys won on Kanga Fighter. But is there like a massive mental buff when you guys go on blue side? Because sometimes the way that your jungle plays is so much more aggressive and like confident when you're on blue side. Is it blue side or is it a champ thing?
No. It's we call it the pick self buff. So when the coach says pick self and you lock in your champion, that's the buff, right? But when the coach says pick this, you have to play this, and then the player makes a mistake and he's like, oh, I don't want to be playing this champion one, and it just like gets to their mental. So
Okay.
yeah,
Just
pick
blame the
self.
coach. Easy A.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just curious because I was like, man, he's playing so disrespectful. Like, we talked about it a lot in the catch. I'm like, what gives a player the confidence? Like, what exactly is it? But apparently picking your own champ is it. That's the buff you need.
I think it's just
That's
menu
it.
log mealtime, really. I think they've had their Weet-Bix in the morning. They've won their menu pog voucher and said, all right, guys, I'm timing. It's time to pog out. It's time to win.
All right, we got a special treat. We got a special treat for this other interview. It took a little bit longer to get it ready, so thank you guys for helping me fill in that time. We got Daystar joining us. Obviously, Dajong here joining me, so he's going to help us. Daystar, hello. First of all, how are you
hello.
feeling?
기분이
Good, how about you?
기분이 어떠냐
네.
오늘 대회에서?
Today I really feel good.
That's awesome. I want to ask, just very generally, who is your biggest rival when it comes to mid laners in the LCO?
그 LCO 상대에서 누가 제일 무섭냐요? 그 선수든지 팀이든지.
딱히 그냥 다 안 무서워요. 그냥 다 비슷한 것 같아요.
No one's scary at all. I think everyone's around the same level.
Oh, okay, that's really cool. And then being in the LCO this year, what has been your personal growth and what do you think is one of your biggest strengths now?
그 LCO에서 와서 어떻게 선수로서 잘했는지 팀도 선수로서 어떻게 잘해줬냐요?
그냥 여기 일단 와서 처음에는 적응 잘 못했는데 그냥 와가지고 계속 스크림이랑 대회하다 보니까 그냥 점점 적응하고 있는 것 같아요.
I think he said when he first came to Australia, it was like an unfamiliar environment. He felt really uncomfortable, but after playing a lot of scrims and a lot of tournaments, he's really feeling himself now. I feel like he's just able to show what he can do now.
Awesome. And obviously, any questions that you have?
그 데이스타 선수에서 이름이 왜 데이스타나요?
그 학생 때 친구가 지어줬던 이름인데 그냥 생각나가지고 그걸로 한 것 같아요.
So basically, when he had to make his pro name, his primary school friend basically called him Daystar, and that's what he chose to stick with.
Wow.
Stuck with it. Awesome. The very last question was he's talking about scrims and everything. What has the team dynamic been for you, Daystar, and how have you really grown into this five-man roster?
그 이젠 아키아 선수랑 계속 스크림 같이 많이 하는데 팀 다이내믹이 어떠냐요?
아직 아키아 선수가 적응하는 단계에서 아직 좀 시간이 걸릴 것 같아서 그냥 계속 지나다 보면은 점점 더 잘해질 것 같아요.
Akia's still unfamiliar with Australia and playing here. He's saying I think he still needs a little bit more time, but once he's ready, they're ready to go.
Very final question, I promise. Even though I said the last one was favorite thing about Australia after being here for almost a year.
마지막 퀘션으로 호주에서 뭐가 제일 좋아요?
그냥 공기가 제일 좋은 것 같아요. 한국이랑 다르게.
He said the air in Australia is a lot better than Korea. It's his favorite.
Perfect. Sometimes you gotta get out,
You can breathe.
have some fresh air. Daystar, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate the insight and good luck today.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much, Dajong, for
That's awesome.
translating and
Yeah.
everything. It was nice to get his
That was a
insight.
struggle.
Yeah, you're
I'm not
like
gonna lie.
sweating. You're like, this is harder than League of Legends analysis. Translating an interview. No, it was good. We got the inside of his in-game name, and then obviously just how he's fitting in with the whole moving to Australia aspect, but then also the roster on Team
You've
Bliss.
just leveled up the broadcast. You just absolutely smurfed it, mate. First time here, and you're just like, I can do what? Casting, playing, translating,
Flaming?
Yeah.
flaming.
That's the last part.
I was about to call him the triple threat, but he's the quadruple threat. He's got it all.
Yeah.
What can't he do? We
That's
gotta like alter the Max tall and handsome copy pasta to
True.
Dajong.
yeah.
That's right.
Max is old school now.
Ah,
Dajong's
Max is
done.
really right. You've been in the LCM for
Goodbye,
3
bro.
years now. We don't
Yeah.
really need you anymore.
Old and boring now.
With this matchup, let's see the side select. Let's see what these teams have picked for themselves. No shockers. Hey, sometimes we get a little bit of a spanner in the work and we might see a red side pick up. But no, it is going to be back-to-back blue side choices. Ground Zero starting on blue side, then Team Bliss on blue side. Their fan vote in that top corner. If you want to go all the way over. Yeah, just above
Oh, we
you.
know.
Nope, that way.
Bang.
Yeah.
I'm
The other
late.
way.
Oh, what are we doing? Are we doing like Dragon Ball Z now? We're fusing together?
I was gonna say Avatar. You know,
Yeah.
like the dragon dance. Yeah. Up there in that corner, you guys can put it in your channel points and predict who you think is going to be taking this game number 1 in our best of 2. Predictions across the board on this
Oh, that's
page.
Very
2 O's
interesting.
for Bliss. So myself, Max, Skim, Rust Dog. I put it there. And then Dajong and Fido. You guys also think it's a 2-0 for Bliss.
I mean, you heard it from Memphis himself. He's a little pooping his pants a little bit. I think it's definitely a game winnable for Ground Zero. Maybe they can take a game. They took a game from PGG last week. They just have to play to their strengths, play a very easy to execute comp, play with a lot of pick, and I think they have a chance. They just need to execute on it.
Do you think Ground Zero are one of those teams that fall into the unfortunate aspect of not being able to close out a game even when they do have a win or a lead? Sorry.
I think a lot of teams in OS suffer from that. Like, it's not that easy to just get a lead, win the game. There are a lot of things that can happen, and it's like just taking steps. And I feel like OS players, we really skip some steps, which make the games really volatile, but also it's fun to watch at the same time. So
It does. It always makes good enjoyment for our viewers. We love to see these games play out, but one thing I love more than talking about these games is watching them. Champ Select is ready. Let's get on into it.
That it certainly is. Thank you very much there, Nat and Dajong. Fido, it's your time to shine. We're actually going to cast together, mate. This is going to be a really exciting time here because you get to see life from the other side of the screen.
Yeah, I mean, it's super exciting. Interesting to see what Ground Zero will ban on blue side because it's the red side that constricts you. And look at that, LeBlanc ban comes out, the respect towards Emphas. That's one of the win conditions that I was going to look at is Emphas. His Ari and LeBlanc, 2 of the highest win rates champions for Master Plus, you know, and OPGG, UGG, everything. So get rid of these champions. Don't let them play on comfort and let Daystar succeed.
100%. I think that was one of the big questions that we were going to try and ask towards Emphas was, would you debut the static shift? Would you give us that LeBlanc tech that everybody else in the rest of the world is looking to try and play now and just basically get freelo with, right? I mean, it's getting disabled in some regions because it's just that oppressive to try and handle. But for Ground Zero, they're going to open up their account here with an Annie, Cassante, as well as a Vi ban. I think I like the Vi ban because you know that LCO would like to go for the Zeri if given a chance. Obviously, the Vi is very strong towards that. For Team Bliss, it's a bit of OP champions mingled in with the respect ban.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jerry's open, Jerry's locked in. No doubt about it. I mean, it's Hooper's best champion. It's the last patch that this champ is OP for before it gets nerfed. It gets gutted next patch. So we'll see if Team Bliss look to take away the Yuumi.
Is that good riddance? Are you very happy that Zeri's going?
Absolutely. I mean, if I had to put a number, I've lost at least 500 OP to just Zeri alone. And it doesn't matter what the player is. You know, like, it's just the champ's broken.
It is very strong, isn't it? Oh, the Hummer
Love
going to
that.
get hovered here. Whether or not it gets locked in, though, this will be a bit of a shout out to Benvi of the old Team Bliss, wouldn't it? But it's going to be maybe just paying homage there from Why Not. Is the Ari's already locked in?
Yep.
If they go for the Wukong as well, gives them a very strong mid jungle, doesn't it?
And I love that from Coach Calvin from Team Bliss. You know, he's recognizing, okay, this player's very good at 2 champions. Ban one away, pick the other. What are you going to do?
Well, that is exactly it, right? You know, you basically limit their impact on the map, and I mean, what we've seen from Gooby has been that he likes to try and go for the carry junglers when he gets given a chance, but more often than not has been forced to try and play those engaged champions. And as you can say, you know, with that removed off the cards, does he feel the necessity to go for something like a Maokai again, give them that very easy avenue?
Yeah, definitely. I think he should pick a slave jungler here for the side of Ground Zero, maybe a prior mid and a slave jungler. There we see it, the Syndra, another one of Emphasis staple picks. And this is Syndra into Ari. He's played a lot of this matchup, both sides, so I think he'll be comfortable.
What do you reckon of Syndra at the moment? I mean, it's one of those champions we seem to see him on the fringe of things, has been very much more dominated by a lot of other champions. So where do you find Syndra? Is she like, you know, just a step below at the moment?
No, she's definitely a really good champion. The only difference is just she doesn't have a way to get out. You know, Ari, the reason why it's such a great blind pick, the Gragas, it's very safe. It's got dashes. If your champ doesn't have dashes in League of Legends in 2023, it's pretty hard to play the game.
It's a broken champion. Nasus is crying
There you
quietly in
go.
the corner,
Yep,
isn't he?
yep.
Yeah. But there is the Yuumi
The
as well.
Yuumi, wow.
Finally, I want to say this is our first Yuumi game that we've seen in the entirety of the split, because Milio and Yuumi have just been permanently either banned or denied or just said, nah, it's not going to happen. Draven going to get locked in as well. A Lemus pocket picker, one of old, which gets me really excited because Lemus has been in really good form recently.
Yeah, he's a very good player. I think we had a graphic about him being the highest damage AD carry in the league, and that's the kind of player that I think he is. You know, he's not afraid to fail, and that's what it takes to win, right? He's not afraid to go in, play on the limits, be willing to die for his team. I remember last split, when I was still playing with him, there was a situation where he was 0-4 on Lucian, and he just dashed forward on the block, tried to one-shot. I'm like, mate, you're 0-4. But it's the fact that he's doing that there that shows that the caliber of the player.
Yeah, doesn't give up, has a killer instinct always within, always searching for those opportunities to strike, and hence why, obviously is doing so well coming into week number 3 here. Viego denied away, already touched on why Gooby could, look to try and veer towards that as a very strong jungle compatriot, but the Nautilus as a response makes sense, given it has been the most played support at the moment. It would definitely give Azaria and Yumi a bit of a run for their money, and another pocket pick has to be denied. It's the Olaf for Tron.
Exactly, that's what we're talking about pre-game. This champion, he's too good in the hands of Tron. So get rid of it. Let Liv play a tank maybe, or at least a comfortable matchup. And from the side of Ground Zero, we should see another support ban, something they're afraid of for the Yumi. The Nautilus was a great ban, and the Rakan. Okay, so another engaged champion makes a lot of sense. And we'll see what Team Bliss pick here on 4. It should be... Okay, they go with the top laner, so it's going to be last pick support. Something that, a lot of supports ask for. I think it's probably not the best. I prefer if the solo lane last picks, but that's a biased opinion.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've seen it a few times, right? It definitely depends on the team. From what we've gathered, team identities, do they feel like the support difference is going to be the be-all, end-all, or do these laners have to just sort of confide to what they've usually gone for? There was the Maokai that we called for quite early on into the draft. Does mean they have a double AP threat as a mid-jungle duo, which could make life maybe a little bit easier here for Daystar in terms of itemization. But either way, they're going to completely round out their composition and give us something else to try and maybe lock down a champion. Poppy obviously great disengage with the ultimate, but great denial of a lot of engage. Yeah,
there's a lot of dashes, and I think a lot of these champions were the same champs. They had the Zeri, they had the Maokai in that win from last week. So these are kind of the crucial pieces. The Maokai is a jungler that can give up camps if he gets invaded and just play around the Zeri lane. And the Pyke last pick, that's what they were saving for. They already saw the Yumi, but they wanted to save it to last. Interesting to see how this goes. Definitely a good pairing with the Draven. And yeah, all eyes centered on this bot lane.
100%. It's really been about the bot lane the entirety of Split 2 here in the LCO. And a Zeri Yumi that finally gets to see the light of day, and Eiko, rejuvenated, showing that against PGG, hey, you don't think I can carry? Well, watch this. That's even without the Yumi. What, went 14-0? Now with the most oppressive bot lane duo is going to showcase just how strong it can be. But a Draven Pyke, it almost brings back the case of, yeah, you can scale, yeah, you can be strong, yeah, mid to late game is going to be terrifying, but what if we just snowball out of control before level 6?
Yeah, and the Wukong Ahri is definitely a bit stronger than the Maokai Syndra in the 2v2, so they should have that mid move available to play towards the bot side.
What are you looking at then from a game sense point of view? Where should we really focus on for early, mid game? Are you expecting Team Bliss to be the ones to try and dictate the pace of things with objectives, and Grand Zero had to show a lot more restraint and almost scale their way into this game? Yeah,
they definitely want to up the pace, up the tempo of the game. I'm looking at mid lane specifically. If you can burn Syndra Flash early game, that really denies a lot of her priority. Even in the 1v1, if she can do it, she's just too afraid of the jungler. So if they can target the Syndra Flash early and then use that pressure to move bot side, that's what I'm looking at for Team Bliss.
100%, and I think, you mentioned already the similarities that Grand Zero have with the composition that got them the win last week. Obviously, they did have the Ahri in the mid lane that time, but I feel like the Syndra fills a similar position, right? Yeah, it's not a charm, it's a stun, but essentially the core crux is coming together of multiple threats to make life a little bit easier for Gooby, who, from all accounts, is basically using his ultimate off cooldown.
Yeah, and you do have a front line, you have a decent enough front line, so you can just play the double threat, sort of immobile 80 carry, standing in the back and hitting. It'll be interesting to see how Why Not parts this game, because Why Not? If I had to compare him to something, I'd say Why Not's jungling is like a jump scare. You know it's coming, but you just don't know when or how, and somehow it always works.
I'm sure it makes it very annoying as to when you need to time your warding, as to where it needs to be and at what time and what position, and really, how do I avoid the gank? The inevitable, as we load into game number 1 here, Fido. A chance for you to see what life is like on the other side of the screen, where we have God vision. We can see it all. You can flame the players. You can say, hey, what are you doing? That's illegal.
Yeah, well, first thing to look at, Maokai taking the aftershock. So he really is playing the dog route. He's just a beefy boy frontline, no phase rush. Once he gets in, there's no getting out.
Certainly is. We can see that some vision planted there by Grand Zero in the bot tri-bush is going to be immediately cleared out by the sweeper. Aki is going to make light work of that one. Instantly is going to be replaced and deleted as well.
Yeah, that's a very smart play. I'm surprised that they didn't bring Ahri to this ward, because it's a very common ward that your Yumi lane will place, because if you stand in that bush, you get blind hooked, it's kind of game over. So that's an easy level 2, level up for mid, had the Ahri been there.
Certainly could be. We'll get to see exactly where these junglers do in fact go. They're both starting on the same side of the map, so you'd imagine they'd be pathing towards bot for a potential gank as a result. Dace are going to go for a very delayed ward of his own, but that had been spotted at the same time too, as Arkia patiently waiting in the wings.
Very smart from Team Bliss. Draven gets the double axe of blue buff, and they might not be expecting the Piker sitting in this bush just because of Draven's path. Misses the hook, but that was a perfect opportunity. Well played.
Yeah, Boneskew goes just slightly wide, but certainly would have been enough to try and cause a few headaches early on. There's a little bit of trading potential with those two axes, as you say, already primed and ready to go. This one lands, out goes one. There's the second, make it a third, and a fair bit of damage actually goes against them. It's Lemus that comes out worse. We're down to 50%, and Aiko only a scratch.
Yeah, just the timing of the wave coming in. He managed to hook, but the minions were coming in. The entire wave was hitting Lemus throughout that trade.
He's going to be running the lethal tempo in this lane as opposed to Hannah Blaze that we've sometimes seen for a little bit more lane dominance. Seems to be much more akin to just being a bit of a titan come these big team fights, which has certainly been Lemus' strength so far this split. What are you expecting to really happen here in the mid lane? We've obviously talked about how volatile it can be in bot, but mid lane, are you expecting it to be a bit of a gentleman's agreement?
Yeah, it should be an even matchup. Lots of just health bar trading, but there should be no threat of a solo kill in this lane. The wave currently is pretty good position for Daystar. Emphas has to be a little bit worried about getting ganked. And why not? Looking for a sneaky invade. He does have the red buff, so he's a lot stronger than Gooby, but Gooby, nice play sapling.
Yeah, it's going to spot him out nice and early, but it does have his teammate coming here. Arkia
Nice
and Lemus
fight.
on the hunt, in jumps, why not? It's going to become a bit of a contester. Really try and go for this red buff, but as you say, smited away, denied, and puts the Maokai just a bit further behind.
Yeah, 2 or 3 seconds off Gooby's smite there. Had he had the smite up, I'm pretty sure he could have Q-smited that, but just unlucky on the timing and very smart pathing from Why Not.
That's some of the creative pathing that you mentioned, some of the, the real frustration, the jump scare, as you coined it, as to, okay, it's happened, and there's not really much I can do about it. And, put on high alert is their own team now, as to bear in mind, this Wukong is on the prowl, looking to make something happen. And once again, Arkia with another bone skill, we're looking to try and start things off again. As he jumps back into the shadows to regen it all up. But, I mean, at its starts, I mean, Aiko and Bulldog kind of just shrugging off the damage.
Yeah, I mean, they're winning this bot lane. There's no pots left on the Lemus. There's no enchanter to heal him up. It's really just what you see, what you get in terms of the health bar. So, looks like Aiko will be able to stack this wave, and Gooby's in place to counter any Wukong ganks.
Yeah, it never looked like he was really looking to try and set up a gank of his own, but more so, as you already mentioned, be there ready on the defense. We can see, obviously, with Vision that Why Not was in the area. Does actually decide to cancel the recall and advance up into this next bush. I think a fair bit of time here.
Yeah, he is, but that's kind of, what we touched on in Champs. Like, that's what you got to do as Maokai. You got to protect this Zeri, don't allow her to get ganked, let her crash these waves, and take the L in terms of your own farm.
Seems to be one of those cases, doesn't it? As we check it with top lane as well. Tron looking a little bit worse for wear, as the Poppy down to 50% of his own. Lived very low on mana at the same time, though, but using those cooldowns like you would not believe it to get a very big shove in there.
Wow, this bot lane, Lemus, really struggling. And the question I have is, when do you actually get a base timer here? Because your Wukong is top lane, I think? I can't see. Yeah, Wukong's pathing top here, so there's no real relief for Team Bliss bot lane. No time for them to take a good base.
No, but you can see just how far away Why Not is in comparison to Gooby. All stems a lot from that creative pathing, but the invade onto Gooby, then the protection that Gooby has to afford in that lane. More time wasted, up by a sizable amount as it stands. And that first item purchase with the Sheen, a lot of skirmishing power now if you were to try and go for a gank.
Yeah, and here we go. Why not? Gooby contesting the Raptors, nothing's going to happen. But I love this buy from Daystar, and something I advocate a lot for mid lane is if you're playing against double AD mid jungle, or double AP mid jungle, just buy the Magic Mantle. Just buy the cloth armor, sit on it. It reduces the chances that you would ever die to a gank by, a significant amount. So it's such a cheap purchase and just a great way to ensure that you'll scale up into the late game.
Certainly was one of those little min-max ways to try and get a little bit more value out of it, right? Obviously, Merc Treads is now being completed, and we already touched on it in the drafting phase that a double AP threat could be a bit of a concern for them. But I know it sort of gets overused or even memed in a way. It was like, oh, I'm immune to damage now with that purchase. But it does feel like that way at times, doesn't it? It
does. I mean, the solo AD threat of Zeri here, and there's a lot of CC that does get affected by Merc Treads, so a very high value purchase.
You can see that the recall in bot lane got interrupted as Akio being a bit of a menace, but back to the top lane, you can see that Tron's already burnt that TP, matched here by Lived as well, to make sure that the health bars stay topped up and healthy, and they can continue the war of attrition, which is farming up grass procs, always a bit of a fun time for the top laners.
Yeah, take us away from top lane, nothing to see there, just the two tanks, It's only fun when Tiana's playing tanks, because he somehow makes this matchup volatile, but most of the other tops just, just scale.
I'll see at level 10, or I'll see at 10 minutes rather, you
Yep,
know, when I can
yep.
TP in and say, hey guys,
Fast
I'm here.
forward.
Let's make it a 5v5 now. But Bliss
go.
have
Dragon.
shown that they've been fairly aggressive. They're going to go for the very first dragon. It's going to be an Inferno 1 and just that. And with the ability to rotate multiple members to it, I mean, you can see Daystar already poking his head into that tri-bush, or rather that pixel bush. And they're going to make sure, guarantee, first dragon goes their way.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, that's something that you can't afford to give up as Ground Zero. I would say that you definitely have the comp to outscares in the late game. You've got the Enchanter, you've got the double frontline, the hyper carry. It's Team Bliss that are on a timer, so it's natural for them to pick up the dragons. We'll see what Wukong goes for next. The next objective will be Rift Herald. We'll see if Pyke wants to join them. Right now, the bot wave's not looking too good for a Rift move. You generally want to build up a wave. So we'll see whether Team Bliss will try to play with 3 players at Rift or bring their support as well.
Yeah, it would seem really good for Pyke, obviously, to get in and amongst that action, right? Share those gold bounties around, where it's going to be a lot harder than for Bulldog to try and rotate, or to, you know, really protect this area at all costs, to make sure it gets ahead and can be that 1v9 Titan. You see that LCO is starting to step up, playing between the minion waves, right? Denying a lot of the Pyke potential, and they've weathered that storm. They've not really fallen victim to any kind of crazy level 1s or first blood shenanigans.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about as well, with the Ahri constantly hovering bot and relieving pressure off this lane. It looks like Pyke's going for a base now, so that could mean the Team Bliss want to start this Rift Herald on spawn.
Going back, as you say, Pyke also, so getting themselves as strong as they can be to look to try and make that play come online. Merc Tread's also picked up here by Arkia. As you can see, once again, Gooby is going to go on through and look to try and steal some of the Raptors. Daystar's revealed him and says, well, good luck stopping me. The damage has already been done.
Yeah, that's quite risky from Gooby. You know, if he got unlucky on the timing and Wukong was in that bush, there is the ultimate available. Ahri had the first move, so this is a very brave Rift Herald from, yeah, okay. He walks away. That's a bit of a jump scare, you know. We've done that many times on Kanga. We've started the Rift, and then the enemy team just came and said, oh, hey, thanks for the leash.
We see Emphis commits the TP back to mid lane, obviously to catch the wave more so than anything, but potentially there, if a fight were to break out and Ground Zero were to square up towards it. There were concerns we mentioned from the draft as to do Ground Zero feel strong enough to contest fights this early on. We might get a bit of an indication towards that, as Liv so far is deep behind enemy lines. 2 members on top of him. In goes the charm, there goes the stun, and Emphis with a Scattered a Week gets the summoner heal, and he's protected for the meantime. Level 6 is starting to come online. Nature's Grasp goes out. Herald down to 2700. And they're completely gone, separated from the herd, and Team Bliss will not only get first blood, but they'll also get the first Herald.
What is that from Lemus? We would not have been paying attention to it. Lemus just gets a solo bolo, first blood. I'd love to see how many stacks he cashed in. He's very rich right now. Yeah, this Rift Herald was never really a contest for Ground Zero. You have a Yuumi into a Pyke. I mean, one champion offers nothing. The other champ thrives in these kind of skirmishes. So really, it should have just been a give from Ground Zero. They should have tried to play for bot lane so that this solo kill never happens.
That's why I was sort of concerned, right, when we were, you know, expecting.
Oh, what?
Hold that for 2 seconds right now, because Bulldog is the one to get jumped across. Actually, an exhaust on the Cyclone really denies its impact potential as he'll spin to run away. But yeah, that was the concern, right? It's the fact that it is a Pyke that wants to rotate, wants to be a second jungler, quotation marks, whereas the Yuumi would surely be there to protect the Zeri to get them turret plates as that trade.
Yeah, even if you can get one turret plate on Zeri because the champion doesn't do too well against turrets, it's still a good chain. That's still a good trade for your hyper carry. Let's see how this happens. We've got LCO actually aggressing, popping his ult forward into a Draven.
Oh.
What is that? I mean, that was 500 damage execute.
That's very painful to see, right? The one that is aggressive, the one that pops the summoner barrier and just gets deleted. I mean, adoration stacks eat your heart out.
Yeah, I mean, that's very unfortunate for LCO. He went for the duel, he didn't win it. But that's exactly what Team Bliss were looking for, because if this game is 0-0, you know, at 20 minutes, it's not good for them. And the gold's in the right place as well.
It really is, right? First blood going the way there, a little bit of extra money as we'll check in to see exactly what it looks like right now. Up by 4,200, so sitting very pretty. No surprise that both AD carries are top table. But that gold or that kill being the real difference maker here.
Yeah, the next thing to look for is that Emphis has completely, you know, negated any regen, any boots. He's just rushing the Mythic. So Ground Zero will have a big timing here when Syndra finishes the Luden's Echo and Ahri will not have an item.
Once that all works out for them, because time is against them if they're looking to try and make a fight happen anytime soon. A minute on their second dragon. Out goes the Lightning Crash once again. Nature's Grasp is coming. Will it run out before it catches onto Arkia? No, it won't. Just barely catches him. And it's Gooby of all people that gets the kill. Members committed to it. And the Team Bliss backup squad just a little bit too late to respond.
Yeah, but definitely I'd say best case scenario for Bliss. You know, they're aggressing in the 2v2, not thinking about the jungler, and they just get away with the Pyke dying. That's not the worst at all, but definitely good for the Zeri. The kill doesn't go on her, but she still gets a nice reset off and stabilizes her lane.
Would you like to see then Ground Zero contest this next dragon, or would you say, you know, give it a bit more time? You already mentioned about emphasis item build. Is that really as simple as it comes down to? You know, get the Ludens online, then we start to contest.
Yeah, well, I would actually like to see Ground Zero look for a mid kill instead of contesting this dragon, because at this dragon, the Draven Pike will always be stronger. But with this completed mythic, they might be able to get a kill on Daystar and generate Emphasis Elite, because Syndra definitely a good champion that can scale. Bit of a skirmish in the river. Oh, it gets hooked.
Gooby it up for it. Yeah, Gooby's gone for the flank right now, and he's a sitting duck. He's going to evade the charm, but the damage is definitely there. And with 3 members surrounding him, it's Daystar that picks up the joy. You said you wanted to kill in the mid lane. It just happened to go the other way.
Yeah, I mean, this is worst case scenario right now, because now they're going to lose control of both sides of the river. So it's not just the rift, the dragon going down to Team Bliss in the next minute or so, but it will also be the topside pressure gone. There's no trade available for Ground Zero.
Well, it's a great start here for Team Bliss. They're up by 2k gold at the 12-minute mark. First dragon went their way. They've now found themselves the second as a result of starting things up here quite cleanly. Ground Zero's bot lane going to look to try and sidestep a bit of a rotation from bot to mid and see what they can find as a result, but never really any invitation to try and contest this one, right? Without a jungler, you can already see that Gooby's parving away to his blue buff.
Yeah, and you got to think about dragons as a long-term insurance. Oh, steal? Not quite, not Gumayushi today. But you got to think about dragons as a long-term insurance policy. You know, it doesn't give you any immediate stats, really. It's percentage-wise. So you're just getting that to threaten the soul and to force a fight later on. You're always welcome to give up the second dragon as the scaling team.
What it really is a bit of an objective kingdom. 2 dragons and a herald as well. That's now going to get someone in this bot lane a little bit more. Gold going into the pockets of the bot lane here, in particular Lemus' Draven. It's already so far accelerated. Bit of a potential in the mid lane as well, as both mythics have been completed. And with the Everfrost in hand for Daystar, he had that killer blood.
Yeah, and it's just the magic resist gap, you know, for Daystar that comes through. He's got the health from the mythic, he's got the magic resist, so he feels comfortable aggressing in this matchup and really taking control of mid lane. Anything happening top? Looks like both tanks just farming. Both have identical builds.
Yeah, just chilling, aren't they? They've both got Sunfire capes, you know, they're vibing out, you know, slowly burning each other down. Oh,
nice.
you charge of a cooldown, I deny you of that one. Nothing really goes on.
No
but mid lane is certainly what we're looking at now. Nature's Grass, get out of the way, but it's a trap, it's a bait, and it's an outplay here from Team Bliss. They've completely read Ground Zero like a book, and there's the whirling axe from bot lane into mid. Everybody getting in on the fun.
That's a second cash in as well. He had a lot of stacks there again. But yeah, why not? Great positioning, anticipating a hey, my already used ult aggressively. I'll hover mid lane. Something could happen, and you know, it does.
Well, let's run in the back of the replay and see how it all starts off. It's Emphis looking to try and get a bit aggressive.
Yep, Emphis trying to bait the engage. Maokai goes in, preemptive flash, great flash by Daystar, making Gooby tank some tower shots, and just not enough damage. It's the Merc Chest gap. You said OP item.
Certainly feels that way, and just better rotation as well at the same time, right? 4 members committing to the play, heads up, understood, and completely read.
And we haven't looked at it, but it's a 4,000 gold lead at 14 minutes. And not only that, but a double dragon. So really, Team Ground Zero are going to have to try and give this next dragon, try and finish some items. And you're really looking to fight when you're on even items. So if you're something like 2 items to 2.5, that's probably the best case they can get.
Well, that's it, exactly right. You know, 4 kills being the magic number, 4k difference, then 4 kills between both your carries on Team Bliss. You know, they're very strong as a combined unit right now, and I don't see them showing any signs of slowing down as another objective spawns straight there, ready to go on deploy.
Yeah, and right now, Ground Zero have a little bit of breathing room because there's this Rift Herald to take away Bliss's attention. But once the Rift's gone, once the Dragon's gone, you can bet that Bliss is going to be walking into their jungle and contesting the camps.
So I suppose to play devil's advocate a little bit here, whilst we get a bit of a chance to talk about it, what are we looking at then for Ground Zero as their ticket back into this game?
It's Jerry. You know, Jerry needs 2 items. The Zeri Yuumi, it's a broken combo. If you can get to 2-3 items, if you can get to at least 1 item behind the Draven, because obviously there's, you know, the Yuumi is offsetting that's when they can take a fight. So I'd say 4th Dragon, pretty good. Trying to trade gold, maybe put Zeri on a side lane. If you see that Bliss is sieging bot, for example, that bot tier 1's still up, maybe you can give the top tower gold to Zeri.
Sure. So essentially you want to try and cut your losses, not get too over-eager to try and make things happen whilst you are still down and weaker in comparison, and potentially not get picked off like this. Tron here, very lucky to evade the wrath of a very informed Team Bliss. Is surrounded by members, is able to start a step away.
Yep. Yeah, and really the best target for Ground Zero right now is Wukong. No defensive items, just the Sunder and no flash. So if they can look to make a pick around his summoner spells, I think that could be a way back in the game.
Kimtech Drake as well is the Rift, as you can see there, from a very explosive blast cone to try and run away from it.
These hooks, just homing missiles.
And he's chucking them out on cooldown.
He's even pulling people over walls in that bot jungle.
You saw Daystar jump himself into the top lane, and now
Sean.
Wynot's going to say you're going to be completely zoned away from that wave. They lost one turret in the mid lane with their Herald. They're going to lose a second just with minion pressure as they let them fizzle out with natural auto attacks.
And the problem, look at Siren's CS. Siren's got 158 CS. The Syndra's got 148. What is Syndra supposed to do on this lane? How can she trade?
I mean, that's brutal, isn't it? Especially when your tank is farming up on pace with your carries.
Yeah, exactly right. So really, the jaws of defeat are closing in on ground zero, and they're going to have to muster up a big fight at either the Soul or the third dragon to make a comeback in the game.
Well, the Infinity Force has now been completed, or Infinity, I'd rather say Trinity Force. I'm thinking of Infinity Wars, right? Thanos is coming to this game. That's what they need right now. They need a bit of a miracle, don't they?
I mean, that's Lemus right now. Lemus is Thanos. And also interesting build. Draven did not go for Trinity Force. That's the most common build that we see, the Trinity Force Collector BT build, but I guess he decided, okay, double frontline lethality, not a high value. Sitting on a Dirk, going into Gale Force. So he's afraid of the Maokai ult, maybe?
Yeah, a bit more mobility, potential execution on top of all the raw damage you already have at your disposal, but maybe there's a rare window in which Ground Zero can look to try and square up for a fight. As you say, already still down by 5,500 gold, but another dragon in 10 seconds. Not the one that you need to, really throw the game at, but potentially going to commit towards it.
They are committing. They have nobody top lane, so they want to control this area. They really want to take this dragon fight.
Daystar's not even here, but he does have a TP. He is split pushing and coming in now with a
The
backline
flank.
flank. They don't know that he's
Oh
here.
no, Ground Zero is routed in.
Ground Zero going to be stuck on this dragon for the meantime. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. What is their play? Emphis
Splash.
split from the rest of the team. Scatter the weak goes into Arcade. That's all they can find. Gooby also looking to try and say, what is my play? In jumps Daystar, finds the charm, gets exhausted. Whirling Axe goes out. Nature's Grasp locks them down. Damage has been found, but kills are going the way of Bliss. They found 2 so far. The dragon, forget about it. A distant afterfall. 3 members dead. Wukong is squishy, but he does big damage. He's found a double. Lived, as farmed as he is amongst the spoils. As at 18 minutes, Bliss get an ace.
Yeah, Bliss pouncing on the opportunity, coming from 2 angles, and that's definitely the way that you beat these front-to-back comps, right? You don't let them fight from one side of the dragon. You come from both sides, and you have easy access on the back line.
Just felt
Let's
to me
have a
like
look.
they overwhelmed them with pressure.
Yep, so the replay, Daystar TPing in right next to Lived. Nobody can go in Daystar here because the Liv's in the way. If you engage on Why Not, he'll disengage. Emphis flashing this whole good flash, definitely, but just the positioning is too awry. Emphis and Eiko need to be standing together, but Eiko already jumped on by Daystar. He's just buying time, never really in any danger. Still has ult to jump out, and that's it. As soon as Eiko goes down in this fight, the Zeri's gone. The chances of Ground Zero are also gone.
What do you rate the fight as a whole, though? Do you think Ground Zero were really forced to go for that play? Would you much prefer that they just said, all right, we've conceded towers, we've conceded dragons, let's just give them another 5 crucial minutes to try and scale up and potentially have that second item for the Zeri?
Well, I mean, it was a perfect fight if you're going into the game and the game's 0-0 and you're just thinking in Champ Select, you're talking to the guys, how do we win? That's kind of how you win, right? You go to Dragon, you set it up, and you hope to come into you play a front to back. But when the scoreline is like this and you're down, 7, 8K, all you can really do is just trade a tower on the other side of the map. You have to accept it. You have to be realistic. Otherwise, it just snowballs even further.
It certainly has snowballed out of control because we've been talking about, 4K leads, 5K. Now down by, 9K gold? It's a bit of a brutal affair, and one I don't see slowing down anytime soon. Let's check in with the overall. And it is Limes, top of the throne. It was close at one point early game, but he's cashed in twice, cashed in multiple times.
The only person that has less gold than Ground Zero is Pyke. Everybody else is ahead. And yeah, what do you do now for Ground Zero? I mean, it really just comes down to trying to hunt for these bounties.
Talk to me about some of this itemization whilst we get a moment to talk. Gale Force, obviously, you already highlighted as a great pickup here for Limes as his second, but the Horizon focus for Daystar Zari.
Yeah, definitely playing for the team this game, and you saw that the entire early game. He built the Merc Shreds. He sacrificed his own stats to keep hovering top and bot. Let's look at this, the Baron being started. I mean, how do you check this from Ground Zero? You just have the blue trinkets. They're both on cooldown. Who's going to face check?
Yeah, is it Tron or is it Sapling? Who can
Like
get there
Tron.
first, really?
Oh, it's gone. It's gone.
He's going to look to try and knock away a jungler, but it gets interrupted, gets put on cooldown, doesn't find his value. He jumps on in, but it's still a little bit too late. The smite goes out, guaranteed here by Why Not. Lived and Daystar off to the flank. Arkia looking for a skewer,
Shut
but
down.
cannot find it. Emphis gets himself on the score sheet, his first kill of the game, but dies as a result of that one. The final chapter goes across, but that's not the target you want. You don't want to be putting DPS into Lived. Daystar jumps across the wall with a Spirit Rush, looking to try and keep this fight interesting, looking to try and box them into their side of the jungle. Where do they go? Can they touch Eiko? They certainly can, but he stands at 50%. Not lethal just yet, and with a cat on his head, he's still feeling like he's ready to rock and roll. He flashes in, but one axe, empowered by Draven, literally 2 shots him. Look at this! Yuumi doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah, somebody called Keta. That That was hard to watch. But yeah, the Gale Force that we talked about coming through. Limus flashing forward, Gale Force, E, auto, he's gone. And yeah, that was probably the worst time for Ground Zero to take a fight because of the item completions. Let's have a look. Poppy tries to knock Whiteout out, but even if he did, the team just too far away for the steal. And now, normally this would be good because there's two people stuck in the pit. Whiteout is dead. But just because of how tanky Liv is, look how long Aiko's hitting him for. He's just tickling.
Just doesn't have the arsenal, you know, the damage, the items equipped to try and deal with the frontline at this point, does he?
You can't kill him. It's just impossible. And really, all Ground Zero hope to do now is just sit in their base and total up and wait for 3 inhibs and farm supers.
Yeah, at this point, it does really feel like the onus is on Team Bliss to close this one out. It's their game to lose. There's no questioning that. As for Ground Zero, I think you're really hitting the nail on the head there. It's a case of can you farm up a treat with all the avenues of gold that will come your way with that sieging pressure. What down now? 4 turrets, or soon to be 4 turrets to nothing. You need time. You need items. You need pressure, and you're probably, amongst all else, you're probably hoping for a mistake from your opposition.
He's built utility, and he's just half health the tank. He has no damage items. Yeah, I mean, the only positive out of that fight is how long it went for. It was a good 40 seconds. I mean, Poppy already respawned by the time the last person revived, so that's a big chunk of the Baron buff gone. But is that enough?
That is the question, right? Only 2 deaths have been found so far, and they've been from your prime engagers, be at the Pike as well as that Wukong. 14-2 is the scoreline, and that's a cheeky little play there from Limus. Hey, you had to take those.
You get flashbacks. Yep, 2 out of 2, not quite 3 out of 3. Yeah, Liv pushing down the bot lane. Bliss applying pressure on all 3 lanes with the Baron buff. Recognize that, okay, the only person with wave clear really here is Emphis. Zeri has not finished her Renans.
Daystar looks for this one. Of course he does. He goes for it. He gets the Reese, and he can just run away from that Nature's Grasp. It was never going to hit. And I mean, that is just the power of Daystar. Just so calm, so cool, so collected.
Yeah, just a nail in the coffin. I'm pretty sure Daystar has had the highest amount of solo queue games, solo kills out of anybody in the league.
I mean, look at the item build as well, as you've already touched about it. I'm playing for the team, now with Zhonya's as well. Like, I don't need DPS, I just need to live myself.
Okay, so when we were talking about, you got to fight when you've got 1 item against 1.5, that's 3-1 now. that's a ratio that you can't beat. It's statistically, mathematically impossible.
Ratio in game, imagine if social media was in game like that and you just got like people running around like cringe plus L plus ratio. I mean, honestly.
And that really tests your morale as well, because you've got to think about it. It's a best of 2, isn't it?
It is.
In this game, if it was a solo queue game, you would FF it.
Yeah.
But you can't. And so you have to keep looking for ways out. And to some players, it can dawn to them. You're playing sort of an unwinnable game. How does that affect you mentally in the next one?
Speak to me about that, and I suppose like having been in situations yourself and as a pro player, like how does that feel when you're looking towards game 2, knowing that this one feels a little bit doomed?
Well, I think it definitely... here we go. Anything lived? No, nothing. It definitely helps to take a break after the game. Not talk to anybody, just kind of stand off, get off your chair, go to the bathroom, maybe, there's a few psychological things you can do, like the diver syndrome, you wash your head with cold water, or even soak in, and just try to reset mentally.
Snap yourself out,
yeah,
really.
just forget about that game, because
Sure.
if you think about it, the next one's not going to go well.
It's just going to live rent-free otherwise, isn't it? Right? It's
go.
not going to go too well. As you can
Engage.
see right now, it's not going too well here for Tron. He's jumped in.
Oh.
They have not found the kill.
Arkia.
The death from below has not connected on this occasion.
He's
He
gone.
tries to run away, but gets snapped back to reality and killed by the cat. Bulldog has got to kill us to Yumi. In jumps the Wukong, knocks them all up, and Aiko, that shining beacon of hope, is now 0-4. The Zeri has not popped off here today.
Yeah, I mean, Aiko gets the 1 kill, decides he's superhuman, jumps over the wall, Liv says hi, and he's gone. That's going to be at least 1 inhib going down, maybe 2 lanes, and just in time for the Baron spawning. What do you do?
Yeah.
If you're Team Bliss, it's just easy riding. I feel like they would have to make multiple mistakes. It would take multiple aces to come back in this game.
It certainly feels that way. It certainly does feel that way when literally every objective has been claimed by them. They've got that soul online right now. The Baron expired a few moments ago, and they've managed to claim inhibs like you would not believe it to make sure that Ground Zero, you're stuck inside your base.
Yeah, and such great discipline there not to go for the second inhib. Let's have a look at the replay. So Poppy jumps in, I think gets cancelled by the charm. And Pike thinks he can execute her, but gets, I guess, EC chain mid-jump. And then Aiko, here we go. G'day, mate. See you later.
Yeah, don't disrespect me like that ever again, really, wasn't it?
Yep, that's it. And Bulldog gets cancelled, tries to jump on Gooby. It is what it is. Yeah, so we'll see Team Bliss playing around the top side of the map. They probably won't go for this bot inhib. It really doesn't matter. But I was going to say it's great discipline that they left that inhib because they had a lot of gold in their pockets. And while the lead might say that they're up 16 or 17k, they probably had 7 unspent. So that was the best chance for Ground Zero to look for a TP flank on that last inhib, but they left. Didn't give any opportunity. No chances at all.
Yeah, I think it's always an interesting talking point, right? When you have just gone from back-to-back fight into, you know, whatever it may be.
4-digit
so
crits!
far ahead. Yeah, look, I mean, it's hurting.
That's static shiv, but it's red.
It's like Jin is back in the game,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we're doing big numbers now.
Yeah, wow. Okay, well, the thing is, playing this type of game for Team Bliss is very satisfying. It's very exciting. It's empowering because you feel like you can do no wrong. You feel like you can play on your limits. You can really disrespect them. Even if you make a mistake, it doesn't matter. So these are definitely the kind of games that you live for as a pro player. Because they let you just show off the mechanics and do things that normally you wouldn't be able to do because you're, you know, if it doesn't work, the risk's not worth the reward.
Sure. Obviously
Baron.
very different to a solo queue game or a
Yep.
scrim game, right? Where it's
Yep.
like, look how well we play, guys, but it doesn't really amount for much more than just that selfie ego, I suppose, above all else, right?
Yep.
As you already mentioned. Second Baron, as you also said, was now to be completed. 8 turrets to 0. It really is a case now of Ground Zero. You cannot even go into your own side of the jungle. We'll look to try and take that too.
Lives in the middle of 4 people. He doesn't care. If they go on him, Team Bliss just ends the game. So he's having a bit of fun. Bit of a staring contest. And how do you wave clear this wave? I mean, it's just the Syndra, but once the Syndra stun goes down, if the Zeri walks up to try and clear the wave, there's the angle for a Wukong flash.
Yeah.
There's an angle for a pike hook. And Sion is going to be threatening from the backside.
Yeah, Sun's going to try and naturally push in
Pulling
that
the
bot lane
trigger.
to look for that third one. A TP is coming out now to guarantee this will be that full 5v5. In goes
Oh.
one, doesn't hit the mark. Tron is what they can get instead though. That's the saving grace. Their silver lining is Liv to pick up that kill to make sure that he's now 3-0-6. Gooby so low already, says
Oh,
chuck out
Pain
an ult.
Train.
Oh, run away! This sign is so scary. Please don't touch me. Double kill now for Liv. He doesn't care. Unstoppable demon. In they go, says Daystar, and that is what they'll find. More and more kills. And Eiko tries to tickle them. He tries to do something, but he gets charmed. He gets locked down. He gets killed again. Lemus has been his nemesis. And that's another ace. It has been so clean from start to finish that Team Bliss will close this out with conviction at 28 minutes.
Yeah, beautifully executed by Bliss. Never in doubt. Never was a point in that game where you felt like, okay, Bliss just threw. There's a chance back in for Ground Zero. Even though Ground Zero had the better scaling champions, the gold lead was just too much. And where's the dance from Why Not? No dance today. Full
No dance
serious.
today. He's not happy. He's not happy. Or maybe he's going full Michael Jordan. Or maybe is it Kobe? Job's not done yet, mate. So look, he's just he's waiting. He's patiently biding his time. He knows. Smile on his face, Nat. He knows that this is a game that was maybe a little bit too easy for them.
Yeah, I mean, you guys already just mentioned it there, that we even thought they were going to have the latest scaling for the draft on this side of Ground Zero, but it doesn't matter how late your timings are if you're never going to get there, if your opponent just ends before it. But we were also a little bit surprised, Daejong, that the game wasn't more aggressive earlier on. It was kind of passive.
Yeah, you see like the Draven Pike, you see all these like early game champions that want to be explosive. I thought this early game would be very kill heavy, very roam heavy from these champions, but it just didn't happen that way. Rift was given, I guess Empress got chunked out, but we'll see that later.
Yumi POV, by the way.
When your coach drafts you, Yumi, yeah, what up? Just sitting in the passenger seat over here. Yumi is the definition of passenger princess, by the way, I think, if we had to describe her. Did you think the game had to be this passive?
I feel like early game, it didn't go that badly for Ground Zero. Like, Bliss bot lane, they're the aggressors, and they did well to survive and even get like a small lead, I believe. But the Rift play, Bliss got Rift, and then Eiko died solo. It becomes very hard.
What did you think, Fido? It was that first Yumi in LCO where you're like, yo, where has this been? Like,
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
it's good to see. I mean, I think that they gave themselves the best chance to win with that kind of a draft with late game insurances, but it was just too big of a challenge, too big of a mountain to climb, and I think it really started at that first Rift Herald.
You think that was the ultimate turning point?
Yeah, and I don't think it was the champions. I don't think it was the player gap. It was just that decision to go to Rift Herald, even though, you know, stylistically.
So I have to laugh because every time I have to remind myself, he was playing
Hands are
Yumi,
off
bro.
keyboard.
He
Hands off
literally
keyboard.
was playing Yumi.
But yeah, it was just that first Rift. You're leaving the Zeri 1v1 against the Draven. That's always dangerous, and even at the Rift, you're not stronger 4v4.
It's a bulldog montage. I mean, production
Like,
is
looking
screwing
at
with
this
us.
highlight, looking at these highlights, you would think that Ground Zero won.
Any bit of analysis goes out the window because all you see is this Yumi player like, yep, I'm vibing.
We'll have to do our favorite Bulldog
Wow.
impression when the camera comes back to us. But this graph, my gosh, it just kind of fell to the side of Team Bliss. They knew what they had to do execution-wise. Obviously, massive differences in total damage dealt as well. That Ari doing a lot. Draven, I thought the numbers were going to be a lot higher for Draven. The way we saw him critting towards the end there.
Yeah, it just shows the class of Daystar. He's building utility. He's rushing Merc Treads. He's not building any AP. Still top damage.
It's a very phenomenal feat for him there. If you were on the side of Ground Zero, Dejong, how would you have gone about the end of this? Or at what point are you sort of thinking about maybe game 2 and not so much focusing on game 1?
I mean, I think at some point in this game you realize, well, this game is really hard, right? You need a miracle to win, and I think it's just about pulling that trigger, right? Odds are you try to pull out that miracle, you're gonna lose the fight, right? But like at this point, it's kind of accepted. You're just kind of slowly bleeding out. You might as well try to make that hero play, try to go for it. If you win, oh, maybe you're back in the game. If you lose, just take a deep breath, take a walk, go for game 2.
Yeah, all right. Best Bulldog impression, go Skim.
Yeah. Churgy. Stop
Chuggy, yeah, just pick me, Yumi. What's up? What's up?
You just know he's got bangers playing on Spotify or whatever it might be, right? And he's just vibing. He's just like, don't worry,
Do you reckon
guys.
they have a team Spotify playlist and everyone just like adds songs into it?
Like a listen along on
yeah,
Discord?
yeah.
Why not?
The banger comes on like, we have to team fight now.
We should do that for us on tap. That's what we should do for the green room to
that's
hype
good
ourselves
bonding.
up. I just thought about that one. It might be a little bit of team bonding. You get to see everyone's music experience. But let's circle back around to game 1 because there was a very specific play, Dajong, that you wanted to talk about how it might not seem like a big decision, might not seem like it has a big impact, but at the end of the day, it did.
I think this just kind of shows like how the best teams kind of just capitalize on enemy team's mistakes, right? You see the Draven hitting Dragon, you see Wukong on it, right? And the Zeri and the Yuumi are trying to steal it. Like that's never gonna happen. Like the the damage is not there to outsmite on Dragon. You might as well push out the bot wave, and right after that they rift bot. They just get 2 plays at once, and it's just really hard to come back when they just keep on making plays, get gold leads while you're just wasting time per se.
It really resonates with what we said prior to this series was, you know, I think it was actually you that said, Dajong, how you could be 10, 20 CS up on your mid, but at the end of the day, if you get a couple plates and a kill on your ADC, like that's going to be the real game changer. And obviously them being able to drop Herald like that.
Yeah. I
Well,
feel
you
like
gotta
it just
do
makes
it.
it very hard.
Yeah, that's the real diff that you're going to be worried about.
And shout out to Emphas. I mean, in that game, at one point, he was up 10 CS in that lane. He was playing it very well. Ended up dying. You know, like it doesn't matter at the end of the day. Even if you play the lane well, it's all about your team.
It's unfortunate. Hopefully it gives them some confidence, though, when we do look towards game 2. They're going to have a little bit of a side swap as well. So now it does beg the question, you're not really going to be having that potential OP champ pick because you're not on blue side anymore. It might also, like you said, the mental diff of being on red side too. What are you hoping Ground Zero think about to bounce back to try and make this a draw for themselves?
Oh,
I'm hoping they go at the back.
Put on that Spotify playlist.
Scream Miley Cyrus as loud as they can go.
It's the climb.
That's it, because they got to climb themselves back into game 2, Nat, mate. This is a job's on. This is a building site, mate. Get your hard hats, get your steel cap boots on, mate. Get to work and build this country.
Build a bridge and get
Come on,
over
mate.
it.
Come on, mate. This country wasn't built on
Rome
hills
wasn't
like that.
built in one day.
Well, that's very true, mate.
Very true.
Yeah, but you're going to have to have a short turnaround time to get a draw. What were you going to say, Fido?
I was just going to say that it takes a lot to mentally reset after that game, especially when you're playing well like Emphas was, and then you feel like hopeless, you know, that you can't do anything in the game. So hopefully they don't deflate. Hopefully they go in with a fresh mindset and they can win.
Yeah, I mean, it showed that early game wasn't that rough. They really can win. Did you have anything you wanted to add on as well?
I mean, just basically saying what fight is, right? Game 2 is completely different to game 1. There's no like, nothing carries over. This is just fresh game. I
Yeah.
think just going to the fresh mind as well. Like the early game wasn't that bad, right? They got leads mid, they got CS leads bot. Bot lane was actually doing really well in that Zeri, Yuumi and Draven Pike matchup. Just try to be an objectives early, try to play for it, or just either play for it or give it up. Don't like hesitate between and just waste time.
Sitting in the middle. He who hesitates loses.
Time is
Facts.
money. Time
Bars.
is money.
For
Bars.
real.
Put
On
him
God.
out. Let's
On
go.
Gromp.
Let's go. What helped you guys mentally reset?
Cold water.
Okay.
Just take a walk.
Walk.
Take a
Walk. Cold water.
What makes me reset? Uninstall.
I was gonna say, looking at all the gorgeous
Because
endless
you know why that's
League
so good?
of Legends
Because then you got to
skins.
reinstall the game. Sorry guys, the game's literally not there. I've got to reinstall Tournament Realm. I literally cannot play. Guys, I'll give you another 15 minutes. Oh guys, I can't play.
I can't play. I don't know what's happening. No, for me, it's checking out all the skins, and maybe you guys can give me an insight on which skins are the best ones. That's our From the Fans question.
Based.
Ooh, nice.
Draven.
Like that. Very good. Big
Do you
fan.
actually? That's not an L. That's a dub.
That's a big
It's a
dub.
dub. It's a
It's a big
dub,
dub?
yeah.
Bubblehead Draven gets it
Unique.
done.
I'd put that in the car. Why not?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Good choice to deck. Good choice. Let's see what other ones. Pink Chroma is best Chroma.
Wow, I've never seen that before.
Oh, what's this? This is
that Star Guardian Aragorn?
Star Guardian. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Good skin.
Wait, is that slippers?
I think it is.
Oh my god, that's amazing. I actually haven't seen this
Yeah,
one
kitty
before.
slippers, I think.
Yeah, the kitty cat slippers.
I like it.
We need some of those. Can we wear those on the set? We've got to find a place to get some. Let's get comfy.
Oh, I know what I'm doing for the prep for next week. None
Oh.
of this looking at champions, stats, team
Look at stats,
matchups.
mate.
I'm going shopping.
Our segment will literally be, what's up, guys?
Yeah, everyone's gonna
Flex
put
the
their feet
slippers.
up on the desk. We're gonna have some slippers. Another one. Let's pump them out. Let's say what more skins.
Oh,
wrong.
Bad.
Is it this?
Is that his kid?
Is this just the same tweet as yesterday?
I think-
Do you reckon he just retweeted his old tweet?
I think Rusty has transcended into a Twitter AI bot. He is just
Ooh.
posting the same thing no matter who tags him.
That's what Elon
I've
was.
never.
That's what Elon Musk was warning us about. The AI. They're coming.
This is it. This is the AI of Zach
Pie.
Rusty Pie. Sorry, I had to read his whole name out. I had to read it. It was there. I had to do it. I've never seen the bod skin. Astro
Astro Nautilus.
Nautilus is pretty badass.
Wait, we've got a cosplay going
a
on.
cosplay.
We're out of the game and into IRL.
What is he holding?
I think it's a hook. That's the Dredgerline, mate.
Or are you asking what is it
Well,
actually
what is it-
made
what
out
is it
of? I
actually-
think it's
Oh.
toilet paper rolls.
I
like,
think it
or
is
like
my
paper
God.
towel.
Yeah,
the
it
paper
looks like
towel
it.
rolls.
That's a Halloween costume.
That's
creative.
good.
I like it.
I some S tier engineering right there, from one to another. That's great.
You could find a Juro at a party. Oh, that's my hobby, mate.
What are you, my ADC?
That's it.
What a big up line. I do believe we have one more skin to have a look at.
Again?
Oh
And this
my
is just a retweet.
God.
This is 2 for
Hey.
2 retweet.
That's just a copy paste. That's just. I mean,
Milk, I expected better from you. Honestly, as the content king of LCO, what is this?
Look,
Reusing.
Andy, mate, you're letting down all Kiwis by copy pasting, mate.
Apparently there is a follow-up. I just got word in my ear. There is a follow That's from Jimmy Neutron, isn't it?
It looks like it.
What's his friend? What's Jimmy Neutron's friend's name?
Oh, it's been so many years since
That's
I watched that
tough.
show.
I don't
I have
remember.
no clue.
But
No
I'm
idea.
pretty sure that that's his friend. That's what the meme
Mordred
is
doesn't
from.
mess around. If you give him a moment, he'll cook up a banger.
Yeah.
I'm
Love it.
excited. I want to see some more memes coming out. But obviously, also, we want to know what your favorite champ skin is. So, hashtag LCO if you guys want to share your opinion on it. If you want us to give you either an L or a big fat dove on your skin choice, then let us know.
We should ask our esteemed guests here what their favorite skins are.
You said Alistair?
Yes, the cowbell
IG
Alistair.
LeBlanc.
Yeah.
When I
That's
get,
right. That's right.
it's
Wait, who'd you
important.
say?
IG LeBlanc.
Oh,
IG
yeah,
LeBlanc.
yeah.
It's got that recall, right, with the IG icon.
Yeah,
of it?
yeah,
Can't see-
yeah.
yeah. It's good.
But it just feels so smooth. All the IG
Yeah.
skins, so smooth.
Yeah.
I was going to say mine's Coven Morgana or any of the Coven
Yeah, the
lines. I
Coven
really
is-
like it. Or like the witch sort of aspect of it. It's my fave. But is yours actually Alistair?
Yeah, well, when I
Have
get
it
autofilled
Alistair?
support, I generally dodge, and when I don't have a dodge timer left, I just pick Alistair and
Guess
I
I'm
do
playing
the
this.
noises.
Dong, 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 dong.
It's like his own version of the Spotify playlist.
Oh, 100%. Him and Bulldog on a conversation together, they'd be rapping. Be spitting bars.
There you go.
Dong, 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 dong.
And
I
on
mean,
that note,
holy.
that high musical note, we're going to jump to a break. It is a best of 2, so don't go too far because Ground Zero and Team Bliss will be facing off once more.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. What is their play? Empis split from the rest of the team. Scared of the week goes into Arcade. That's what they can find. Gooby also looking to try and say, what is my play? In jumps Daystar, finds the charm, gets exhausted. Whirling Axe goes out. Nature's Grasp locks them down. Damage has been found, but kills are going the way of Bliss. They found 2 so far. The Dragon, forget about it. A distant afterfall. 3 members dead. Wukong is squishy, but he does big damage. He's found a double. Lived, as farmed as he is among...
Don't you know I'm out of this world? I'm Kayla the alien. Know the outfit fresh, but I'm still stinking rich. Used to work at Mickey D's. Only millions getting flipped. I am a goat undiscovered. Shout out to my mother. If she hadn't have me, the rap game would never cover. I zip it up and sit it back. My diamonds big as IMAX. I'm getting to a bag. That's a fact. Ring the ring the ring the ring the alarm. too hot for these lanes. Someone open up a window. I'm in and out of state, still recognize right away. They say I really blew up, so I guess I'm out of shape. That's a fact. Asking who running me in the pack. That's a fact. All of these hundreds that we attract. That's a fact. Clear the space, hater, I'm feeling cramped. That's a fact. Winning the game, now give me my plaque. That's a fact.
I'm spitting factoids, fresher than some Altoids. The realest, you know for sure, and that's no cat, boy. Rhyme on any track, boy. Instrumental, acapella, your seats rocking, beatboxing like the Fat Boys. I claim that. Don't vibe when you lames at. Two lyricists killing that homicide on the same track. Been that since way back, for the fortune like Sajak. You crazy, I'm wavy, minus the wave cap. If Kayla is an alien, Skrilla is a Martian. Boss in all things, so proceed with caution. We awesome, you know that's true. If you scared, then you know what to do.
Ring the alarm, nah, I don't need no intro. I'm too hot for these lanes, someone open up a window. I'm in and out of space, still recognize right away. They say I really blew up, so I guess I'm out of shape. That's a fact. Asking who running me in the pack. That's a fact. All of these hundreds that we attract. That's a fact. Clear the space, hater, I'm feeling cramped. That's a fact. Winning the game, now give me my plaque. That's a fact.
Himself back in. They want it. Kizzy's on Earball and Pentakill. Second, they'll find a second. Chippies is on an absolute tear right now.
Bliss got game 1 victory against Ground Zero, but in this best of 2, there is a chance for Ground Zero to bounce back. They got to treat it like a BO1, almost, you know? Go back to our old format. Pretend there wasn't even a game 1. This is the only one that matters now, Dajong.
Yeah, like, it really doesn't matter, right? At this point, you lost the game. It's in the past. Forget about it. Best of 1. You just woke up. You're just playing the game now.
Do you think there is anything vital, though, information-wise, to take from it? Because, like I said, this is going to be a side swap.
I mean, I feel like Bliss played draft pretty well. They took a lot of signature champs away from Ground Zero. Maybe that's something to think about. Maybe that's something they didn't expect to happen. Maybe just have more higher prior in their confidence choosing the champs they want.
Okay. Well, if you guys like what Dajong's saying, you think, hey, Ground Zero have done all of those things, they could definitely bounce back in game 2, then use your channel points. Put them up there in the top corner. You can put them all on Ground Zero. The return, I don't know what it's going to be like. I have absolutely no idea at all, but you could be rolling in the channel points. You could be highlighting every message that you want to spam in chat, and that'd make you look like an LCO high roller for sure. But I'm just imagining there's someone out there that's just spamming all messages.
Net when. When. I have so many channel points. When. Chatting. I'm so rich I can keep highlighting. Hello, how are you?
Oh, you don't have enough channel points to highlight all your messages? Not true, LCO fan.
You're fake.
Fake fan.
I've been here since 2021. LL.
L plus ratio. Kind of just rambling on here, but in your experience, Fido, do you think Ground Zero have what it takes? I don't want any in-depth analysis. I just want my heart of hearts. I believe that they can make this a draw.
Well, I have lost a lot of games, and I can tell you that when you lose game 1, you can win game 2. So I have to believe.
Perfect. That's all I really wanted. I wanted a little bit more confidence in Ground Zero because we love cheering for the underdog and we love a champ select.
Yeah, we certainly do, Nat. We love to see what can happen in a game 2 and get to see exactly what get locked in for a game 2. LeBlanc, it's back.
Whoa.
It's not to be denied, and it's into Emphis, an individual that absolutely loves the champion as well. So this one is going to be spicy.
Yeah, so we'll see if we get the reverse matchup. LeBlanc versus Ari, two of Emphasis' best champions. If there's any matchup that he can win, it's this one.
Let's see then. What is the response from Ground Zero as they will cycle for those champions? It will be the Ari, as you've already highlighted.
Yep.
Quick touch on some of the bans. Ground Zero have gone for Zeri, Nico, as well as Milio, so basically removing triple Exodia, if you'd say that.
Perfect.
For Bliss, it's been Maokai, as well as the Vi and Nassan. So really making sure that Gooby's life is pretty cut out. And I mean, you could see it even from the gameplay and invade onto his red buff, and he was very put far behind.
Yeah, Wukong, a reverse draft of from last game. We saw the Ari Wukong locked in on 1-2 red, and we see it here again. Good pairing. It worked out last game. We'll see if Ground Zero can replicate the success of Team Bliss.
So let's prophesize, okay.
Prophesize.
LeBlanc is here.
LeBlanc.
Is it going to be Static Shiv? Is it? Surely.
Dank Blank always builds Static Shiv now, for sure. Dank Blank with a Static Shiv, and we'll see some sort of a setup jungler. We could see something like... Why not? It's why not. What will why not play with LeBlanc? Okay, Zyra Khan locked in the bot lane. So this could be, yeah, this could be a very late jungle pick. They could be cooking something very interesting in the jungle.
I mean, he certainly loves to cook, a little bit like yourself. You know, a very esteemed chef. How many Michelin stars, mate? I mean, we've had the Akshan, we've had the Tristanas, we've had you know, the metas don't even care about you. You say, I pick whatever.
Well, look, I'm biased. I like my cooking, but it doesn't win games. So, where do you draw the line?
Look, you've got the awards, though. You've got the Michelin stars, mate. That's what matters.
Yeah, okay. So the Aphelios pick off. I like it. Very standard from Ground Zero. They're taking the AD on 3, so it doesn't get double banned. We'll see what Team Bliss choose to ban. It could be double support bans because they've already locked in the support, and the jungle bans come out from Ground Zero.
That they certainly do. So the Kindred denied away to make sure they don't have a double AD threat, which we have seen become fairly prominent in recent weeks, as to give yourself an avenue. Obviously, your team played it as well with you know, having the Kindred and the Lucian at your disposal. In terms of Bliss, they're going to remove some supports. No surprises there. What would they go for as the second ban? Would it be, say, the Fresh or the Nautilus? It would seem to be the go-to as it stands in LCO, and another jungler ban in the Viego 2.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, generally you want to ban 2 of the same champions because otherwise there's interchangeable champs. Okay, yeah. So they've just done the Lulu and the Poppy in a top ban. Didn't like the Poppy from last game.
Yeah, goodbye Ordals.
Yeah, there you go. Ground Zero should be picking their support here, I hope, and giving last pick to Tron. All of his champions are open. The Olaf, the Gwen, they're both in the pool.
That's true.
Yep, Nautilus, perfect pick. Just a nice, safe, engaged champs. And the best thing about this Ground Zero comp is that you already have everything. You could pick anything. You could pick Kayle, you could pick Akshan, okay? You can pick my favorite champions top lane if you're listening to Ground Zero. But these 4 champs have it all. They have engaged, they have scaling, they have mixed damage, they have early game bridging champions. It's perfect. So we'll see what Bliss round out the draft. They don't have a frontline right now. We'll see if they go for more of a pick comp with the Kha'Zix. So they might do something spicy. They might take a split push top. They still go with the frontline Cassante. It is blind. That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, the Jax could be an answer. Definitely some sort of a hyper carry in the top lane here.
And we know that Tron has that in his back locker, right? That he can be the carry player, be it the Olaf, the Gwen, the Jax, whatever it may be, to try and answer back, and hence why he's been given the resources. Almost a bit like how PGG give it to Chippies, right? Where it's like, you know, top lane, you can be our strong point.
Yeah, and Chippies has been playing so well recently as well. So if your players... Oh, gosh. This is something I've seen in solo queue all the time from this guy. He just farms 15 CS a minute. I ping him, hey, mate, could you help me with the scuttle? Nah, he's just pushing the wave. He farms a lot, and he does a lot of damage. That's all you need to know.
Is it one of those cases where he's like, see you, mate, at level 16, once my
that's it. That's literally it.
I will 1v9 with the Deadpool, and then like, hey, you're going to commend me. I'll get with the upvotes.
Yeah, Tron is the only person, the only top lane that I've seen where I come to gank top, he pings me away. He's like, I just want the wave. Leave me alone. On Vladimir, of course. So.
Would you be too experienced about this matchup with the Cassante? Obviously, we've seen a few different variations as to how to try and deal with it. We had Zoranis take a Cassio into it, right? What would you say your stance is with a Vladimir approach?
I think it's a similar variation, right? Like last game, we saw the tanks building Sunfire. Sunfire not very good into an AP top, so you sort of pick these hyper-scaling AP tops that just have a free lane into Cassante. I don't think that Vladimir can dominate the lane like Cassio does, but it is just a free lane. You can't really gank it. You can't gank Cassante, so we shouldn't see too much action in the top lane.
Yeah, interesting. Well, either way, I feel like this is a champion of old, almost the way sort of like Tron announced himself with his debut back in the day when he did play Vladimir, so it's almost kind of cool to see it go full circle and another champion that we just don't really see in the meta too often these days, right? I feel like Vladimir is definitely out of favor.
Yeah, back to the future, but the good thing about picking champions like this is the other team has no experience playing it.
Sure.
They don't know your spikes, they don't know the angles, so really it's on Tron. It's on Tron to carry this game. I think he can do it.
And how's he going to do that, I suppose, is the big question, right? Because if it's as simple as what you said in terms of he is going to be wanting to farm up 15 CS per minute, just sort of AFK until the sort of later stages of this game, where are we looking to try and find the impact in the in the early stages? Is it really all about their mid jungle?
Yep, mid jungle. Ari and Wukong trying to secure this bot lane. They have set up for the bot dives. It is very easy to dive Zyrakan early game pre-6, so hopefully they look there.
Well, let's see then if they can turn their fate around and actually close this out with a draw into their opposition in Team Bliss, who absolutely dominated game number 1. But will the same fate repeat itself here in game number 2, Fighter? Let's jump into this one and have a bit of a deeper dive as to what we can look to really expect, because already touching on a few points from Garen Zero, what is the strong points from Team Bliss? A very aggressive mid jungle of their own.
Yeah, and look at the adjustment from Team Bliss, not placing that ward, not risking that it will get swept. Arkia just checking with his face, and Lima standing in the bush. I love this adjustment, not risking giving level 2 to your mid. Otherwise, team standard. Bulldog placing the ward in the bot bush for control, coming back. I assume he has a sweeper now. And nothing to see here, no shenanigans, no 5-man mid to blow a flash.
That wouldn't be rent-free in your head for any reason, though, would it?
Yep.
No?
Yeah.
You love that summoner.
I love it. Daystar, he's got the fleet, so we can confirm it is going to be the static shift. But what I'm interested in is whether he goes Night Harvest. I think Night Harvest is definitely the better variation, because static shift procs that passive, whereas with Ludens it doesn't. So that sort of build, the Shiv Night Harvester into Lich Bane is just so obnoxious to deal with.
Is it a complete overhaul then, for those that aren't too familiar with that build, compared to what usually LeBlanc would run? Is it just those two items that sort of stand out from the usual deviation?
Yeah, the biggest difference is the timers, the turn timers that LeBlanc gets. Because she can kill the wave so quickly and she can move over walls with her W, she can blast the top wave and move mid in a matter of seconds and spend 20-25 seconds hovering mid lane, creating a lot of pressure for your team. Here in the mid lane, we see a lot of early trading. Bot lane, Glacial Augment goes down. Nothing to really look at. A big wave on the side of Team Bliss.
Yeah, just early indications of just how strong these tradings can be. I mean, look at Daystar inside, what, 2 minutes? He's already at the enemy turret saying, I dare you to charm me. Yeah,
Daystar playing with a lot of confidence. He does have the longsword, so the auto attack trades do favor him. Gooby a little bit behind on the clear. Kha'Zix's already finished 3 camps onto his 4th. Gooby's still just doing the Raptors.
I think the number to beat from memory was 9,000 damage in a game done with a static shift.
Oh, yeah.
Was that Perks, I believe, from memory, right? So
Yep.
we'll have to see if we can see a similar fate shared here, or
Emphis,
it gets even more aggressive. And he's just been taken down
gone.
in 2.5 minutes. First blood, as easy as you like it.
Yeah, longsword gap. You're not expecting the autos. And Emphis was the one who was spamming this build a lot in solo queue, so you'd think that he'd understand the timings and sort of the kill angles that are there, but maybe the pressure just getting to him.
Certainly can, be very jarring, especially when you've got a lot of pressure put on yourself. You could see how nervous he was from the interview, and even if there is that comfort champion, sometimes that can have a momentary lapse of judgment. Let's see what Grand Zero do as a result, though, because they are going to put members in the bottom to see if they can find perhaps a cheeky bit of pressure onto Team Bliss.
Yeah, look how scared they are. Bulldog thinking that his jungle was about to get invaded, and why not? Definitely could have with that massive mid-wave crashing. Chose not to. Looks like he will just go for the double scuttle, but still a huge advantage for the Team Bliss jungler.
Junglers are going to meet in just a second, despite the sweeper going on out. Gooby needs to be very careful. He knows what happened last game with that buff being stolen away. He needs protection.
Emphis has moved. Emphis could have already moved to this play and been first. Why not? This is pretty illegal gameplay. I don't think anything's going to happen.
Memphis does eventually go for the play, but gets told by Daystar, nah, nothing in life is for free. I'm here to try and make your life a little bit harder on that rotate. And yep, the rest of the Team Bliss started to back up. Why not, to make sure that they can at least get something for their efforts, for their time spent.
Would love to have seen Why Not recall here and spend his money, because there's just no way that Wukong can enter this top side before him, because he has to hover this bot lane, right? They're about to get the crash in, so Kha'Zix could be a lot stronger after this Rift Herald had he taken a reset, but now if he runs into Wukong, he is down 2 longswords.
It certainly is. Whether or not Gooby can make that difference amount to something substantial to try and even out the odds before they blow out control like they did in game number 1. We know obviously just how strong a Kha'Zix can be when left uncontested.
Yeah, and this gold lead is just going to grow in the jungle. Already up 2 camps, 3 camps even up for Why Not once he clears his topside camps. And this Kha'Zix is looking scary. Serrated, Dirk finished. Jeez. Interesting to see Daystar getting a ward on the Raptors and even protecting it. Absolutely no fear whatsoever. He knows that there's no C on the jungle.
Damage as well.
He just want me toy.
Just look
Leave
at
him
the amount of
alone.
damage. I mean, he goes
Leave
for
him
this.
alone.
He absolutely goes for this. Forces out double summoners as both flashes have to be expended. In comes Arceus saying, Emphis, you're not even safe in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, this is if you're Wukong here, this is where you ping a few times on the LeBlanc, then you ping a few times on the Ahri just to get the message across. What do you do? Wukong's camps are not his own. The mid wave is constantly being pressured into Emphis, and this pressure that we talked about, this Ahri Wukong that had so much success in the early game for the previous game is looking the exact opposite.
Yeah, it's really rough, and it just sort of showcases how strong a draft can be, but then the execution being an extra layer that really trumps all. And yeah, as it stands. Pretty brutal affair here. Daystar is really ramped up and ready to go and showcase just how strong this build can be.
Look at that, Daystar, level 6 to level 5, gets this crash. Emphis has to respect it. And going to be down basically a full level. And look, the roles are reversed. This time, Daystar is the one that's skipping any sort of defensive, no boots, just the refill pot. And just has a ton of stats over on Emphis.
Yeah, and Emphis has no TP, right? So he
Yep,
misses
no
that
TP.
wave. Another wave is about to crash
Yep.
now. Look at the CS gap between the two of them. You've already highlighted the level difference, but their CS gap is criminal.
Yeah, I mean, that's is that recoverable? That's the real question. Is this Ahri ever going to find impact in this game, or is he just going to become a charm bot? The good news is that Ahri can build Everfrost. You do have the double AP threat. You have the Vladimir top, so there is still hope for Tron to dominate, and it actually decreases the likelihood that Team Bliss will build Magic Resist if Ahri's having a bad game. So in a way, this is enabling Tron.
It just goes all the way back to your point from draft that this is the Tron comp. This is his chance to really showcase, I deserve that 5th and final pick in draft, and it's going to amount to something special here. Maybe the wild card like the Olaf Terrors that we've seen in the past, but it's a long way before you reach that point in the game. Will Team Bliss allow it to reach that late game is the big question.
Ground Zero, great use of the bot move, getting the scuttle, and when you're behind in a game like this, getting the scuttle sort of just de-incentivizes the dragon take and buys you a little bit more time to get your items.
No early start towards this dragon. Quite content are both teams just playing at the laning phase, but it is Team Bliss still showcasing a little bit more tendencies to be aggressive, to lay down vision, to keep tabs as to where their opposition are at any given moment, despite not having a scuttle crab. They're not really too phased about that. We're on vision. You can see that Why Not leapt into the pit to start that one up, and Daystar's going to have first move. Emphis will not be here for it.
Yeah, and that's what Darjun touched on the analyst desk. He said that the worst teams are the ones that are skipping steps. No steps skipped here. The jungle and the support of Team Bliss went into the jungle, checked all the camps, made sure that Wukong could not contest this dragon, confirmed that he's top side of the map. Kasante's playing safe, free dragon, everybody wins.
It's a big win for them, and it's a great start to this game too as well for Team Bliss. Now, the gold doesn't look too different, you know, from an overall standpoint. It's about where that gold is found right now. We've already touched on just how strong this mid lane matchup is favoring them.
Oh.
And that's even before the stack shift is complete, right? It only gets worse.
Is that legal? That does not look legal to me. The AD is just too much on the Blanc, and it seems like every single time we look at mid lane, Emphis is just basing on a bad wave, losing 6, 12 CS, and it's just going to get worse once this static shift completes.
Let's see then what Ground Zero can do as a response. Tron is being called upon by Gooby to try and start up the first objective, their first of this entire series, if they can find it. Hemoplay goes down, jumps into the Sanguine pool, and that pops for very minimal damage this early on. No damage to try and amplify it any further than that, but they have to recall from this attempt.
Ground Zero wasting a Vladimir ult just to stay alive, sort of caught in no man's land, and that rift was really not Gooby's. Your mid is losing this much. All you can really do in a game like this is try to lane gank top or bot or try to counter gank lanes. He's trying to sneak it again, but why not? He's the kind of player that does this himself, so he has a feel for it.
He certainly does, and he's called upon the rest of his team to say something doesn't really sit right with me. You can see the pathing of Tron, like they know that something's gone wrong here.
Look at the bot lane. The bot lane has first move for Ground Zero, so they'll be able to secure the Rift Trail. Just 5 people too many.
And 100% they're sacrificing their bot lane as a result of this one by dragging up everybody else. It's almost like it's spread across the team that we all have to sacrifice and suffer based on that one key decision.
But look at Arkia. How does Eiko re-enter this bot lane if Arkia cuts him off? They saw exactly where the Nautilus was, so they have the timer on him. And Lemus gets comfortably 2 full plates, 2 waves denied, and overall, I'd say that's pretty worth it for Team Bliss.
It certainly seems that way, right? You know, it's a trade where you've really hard forced it and brought the entire team on board and say, this is the decision we'll be making at all costs. Doesn't matter if you're ahead individually in your own laning phase. I want this play, I'll make this play, you're coming to actually make it happen, right? So back to bot lane he goes, the very safe way, as you highlight too. But Lemus is in La La Land, right? He just picks up all those plates and solar experience.
Yeah, and the other thing we didn't talk about is the Xayah Vlad interaction. Xayah, not the best champion for Vladimir. You know, she's got the invulnerability. It is quite hard to get access to her. And if you think about the other champs as well, Kha'Zix, Invis, Leap. LeBlanc, double Leap, and 200 heal off the fleet footwork constantly. Who do you actually target? Here's Vladimir.
It's a tall ask, to say the least, right? And it just definitely seems like we're sort of ramping our way up to a, a big Baron fight or something of the likes, right? A big soul fight where you suddenly are, level 15 or whatever it may be, and you're hoping, okay, guys, maybe I can catch them off guard. A big Vladimir flank, the dream.
When was the last time you've seen a Flame Horizon, Skimmy? I think it's going to be today.
Ooh.
It looks like mid lane, and this static Shiv, I've seen almost every single game that LeBlanc plays in solo queue, he gets a Flame Horizon just because of that quick access to the waves, quick clear. If you go to catch that wave that LeBlanc pushed, she just moves to your team, and your team dies 4v5.
Is it really just a cheat code right now in the mid lane in particular, just to make sure that you can rotate and beat to the play first?
Yep, it's the turn cheat code. It's not the damage to the champions. Yes, it's big, and it's just the fact that you have access to the waves, and you're constantly getting more items in them, and eventually you get so much extra gold that static Shiv, it just pays off for itself.
And we see obviously the big factor in a lot of these games be if you can deploy to the rest of your team first to make sure a gank happens in bot lane, then hey, you're just straight winning. And you can see that they're going to try and make that happen right here and right now. Arceus jumped in, receives the Moonlight Vigil, cops a heal as they run away, but the favors have gone down, and they will not be recalled as both teams decide to back away wounded, but still alive.
Yeah, I mean, decent trade for Ground Zero, 2 ults for 2 ults. Couple summoner spells traded, but nothing to come of it. Good flash by Arkia. Could have gotten CC chain there, but alas, not to be. Resets into a normal game state, but why not? Look at how aggressive he is. This is Ground Zero's jungle, and he's just not respecting it. There's nothing that can catch him. The only thing that he has to be afraid of is the Nautilus ult, which is down. Emphas, he just, he's angry at the wall. He's angry at everything. Throwing out his abilities. What can you do? Like, it just pains me to watch this because there's really nothing you can do as the Ari. Look, this is emotional ult use. This is when you get really emotional.
Oh no, they've tried so hard to say, Daystar, you're really pissing me off. We need to kill you.
Exactly.
Right? Like, please, something land. The engage from the Wukong, the potential char on cooldown reset, just not happening.
Yeah, and from the side of Daystar, it's like this hunting, this hunter's feeling that, this Ari is like your prey. You can see that he's struggling. You're in his head. You feel like you can get away with a lot more than you normally can, just because of the way that he's playing, those desperation moves that he's pulling out. So, Nautilus in trouble. No flash.
Be careful, as you say. Prey, another one found, another member isolated. Key individual taken on through. Bulldog will not be there to back the rest of the team up for a crucial fight because second dragon is about to spawn. Not that I feel like Ground Zero are ever going to contest it, because look at the lane space.
Yeah, look at Echo. Where is he supposed to go? Every bush is scary. Every bush could have 2 people in it. He can't walk to bot lane. He's losing. Look at the denies. I mean, this wave, the entire next wave, the plate, everything is going down. And the way that you bail this out is through mid. But your mid's losing, and your jungle is top.
Mid and bot lane have completely boomed, and now we are completely all in on this play. You've got the Herald. You've gone top lane. We start to believe, Tron, can you do it? You need another 10, 50 minutes at least.
Yeah, I mean, Liv's there. He says, thanks for the XP from the Rift. Never under any sort of danger. And yeah, Daystar. I don't think we've panned mid once to see Daystar not have moved. Every single time, and see you later. The fadeaway chain, that is very satisfying. The corrupting
HP
pot?
check?
Not quite. The C-pot, the old C-pot.
10 HP.
Yeah. Could have done it, had the chance. That was definitely a bit of an ego play, but that's what you can do when you're this far ahead.
Certainly feeling himself, as is the bot lane of Ground Zero so far. They try to make something happen, but it's a 4v2. They're going to do as much damage as they can. TP comes on through. Down goes Tron. He's TP'd in, but rooted in place. Members are low, flashing forward. He wants to get the Hemoplague. He wants to try and do damage. He's landed onto 2, but they denied him of the potential. He's getting closer and closer, but just out of range. It's heartbreaking, Fighto. You can see the play, but just not enough.
So close. I mean, this is where he wished he had a Ghost, right? If he didn't take that TP into Cassante, and okay. Gooby comes in, cleans up a kill.
He'll get one. He'll at least get one, and that does at least provide Tron with some assist. I need to make that TP time fairly worthwhile, though at least even things out by getting a tower too. Actually, the first one of this game as well, might I add. So there's a silver lining towards it. And look, the goal lead hasn't completely ballooned out of control like it did this time last game.
Yeah, and it feels like Ground Zero is trying to do the only thing they can, which is throw bodies at it. They threw bodies at the Rift, 5 people. Team Bliss had to give it up. They threw bodies bot lane, secured the tower, got a kill. That's the only way they can play right now because the lanes are losing so hard.
see it once again in
Oh,
mid lane. I mean, he
no.
stepped up to the wave. He just wants to
Riot.
trim the wave.
Riot, please.
Hey, it's only getting buffed.
I know.
It's only going to get stronger.
Unbelievable.
13-11, hello 13-12, and look, it's not doing enough, mate. We need to buff it a little bit further.
Thanks, Freak. Yeah, I mean, Tron in trouble. No flash from the bot play.
Does he still die?
Ooh, that's a big... Oh,
why
Tron!
not? Oh my god,
Oh.
pixel perfect again!
Lemus. Why not? Counting his lucky stars, thanking Lemus there. Great
Twice
time
now.
to heal, yep.
That is twice now. We see members of Bliss fall below 10 HP, but live to tell the tale. And Scooby says, yep, you've got me, guys. And they just play with their food, don't they? They make sure that Daystar is the one to get the killing blow. He is now 4-0. And I think that Flame Horizon is not too far away.
It's coming. And wherever Daystar is, you just have to run away. You see him, you leave. That's the strategy for Ground Zero. So this top side of the map is not theirs. They should just try and trade some bot camps, maybe look for a kill on Cassante. Yeah, just to pick up the scraps along the map.
Above all else then, would have said actually, have you already talked about the ability to, rotate to place first? Is it just the ultimate hack then, if you're bad at CSing as well? Then
Oh,
just
yeah.
to guarantee that you are going to be that 10 CS per minute player,
Yep.
and maybe in your lower elo games, it's like you're guaranteed to have item spikes first.
Yeah, if you're a support player, you don't know how to last hit, build static shiv, queue up as a solo lane, and you're set.
Now
you
you're
know?
good.
That's it.
Laning fundamentals, who cares about them?
Exactly right. So, yeah, second item completed for Daystar. Meanwhile, Emphis has bought his second amp tome of the game. Not too bad.
Oof.
Oof. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? It's just really big. There is, look at the Aphelios. The Aphelios is up 30 CS. So
Yes.
there is some sort of a way back in. The Vlad is having a good game. There's definitely a chance for Ground Zero, but I would say Daystar has to int.
Which, to be quite frank, is actually a huge credit to Eiko, given the amount of times we've panned to his bot
Yeah.
lane, and he's been denied
Yep,
from the tower,
yep.
denied from the plates, denied from the plates, being forced to actually go up to the Herald.
Yeah,
Because
he was the
Gooby's
one.
saying, we need this to happen. To be up this much is a huge saving point.
Yeah, and it's very easy to sort of, when your team is losing in global goal, it's very easy to die because there's just so many things you have to think about, so many bushes that aren't safe, so many double checks you have to make of everything. So big props to him. It's hard to play well on a losing team, and he's really giving them a chance back in this game. Eiko, good
Thing
flash.
is, though, this might be what's called
Oh.
caster curse. You'll get familiar with it in just a second. You say a compliment to a player, they will die. It just happens. That's what we've learnt, me and Rusty on the
I don't
LCO.
know.
So now to try to answer it back. Karstix is the one to be aggressive. He's the one to then get picked apart. Gooby gets his second of the game. Emphis says, I'm 0-3, but I'm still hunting. I don't have an item. I have components, but I have a Spirit Rush and a Charm ready to get you. If Everstorm says, nah, not happening, and they will
Yeah.
just run away.
Yeah, I mean, that was the best case scenario. It was very overforced on mid. Good flash, good preemptive flash by Eiko. A little bit too overforced. You only had 3 people there from Team Bliss. Daystar, their strongest member, all of their gold is pushing top lane. There's just no fight there, and Ground Zero punish accordingly. I think they lacked the communication on that last kill. Let's have a look at the replay. I think there might have been no communication about Lemus's flash there, because had they known Lemus has no flash, Ari should definitely try and flip it and get that kill on the Zaya as well.
Yeah, you can see Daystar actually went to go back for a reset, but decides to push in one more wave and says, you know what, nobody's here to stop me.
Deja vu from last game, third dragon.
Maybe I'll just push another tower. As a result, it is Ground Zero now forced to try and get an objective bounty.
Ooh.
There is that turret, there is that split push, and there is a TP for Daystar, but he has so
Can he
much
cancel
gold.
him?
He needs to spend it before he TPs into this fight. Ground Zero say, thank you very
Nice.
much.
Well
Objective
played.
bounty for us. That's our first dragon of the game, but can we disengage? That now becomes the big ask. Bulldog may just be the sacrificial lamb, but Ground Zero need to run because here comes Daystar, juiced up and ready to rock and roll. He'll find a target.
Oh.
They'll get a charm. They'll get a knock up. They'll find 2 targets. Emphasis, can you catch
Why
me?
not?
And Daystar says, yes, I can. He's burning with the ignites, but they just don't have enough.
Yeah, a good effort there from Ground Zero. Good from Tron to just ignore the wave and run at the LeBlanc, threaten her, say you can't teleport here, delay her joining the fight. Let's have a look at the replay. So Tron is running at LeBlanc right now, cancels her base, and Bulldog in a perfect position. Doesn't get the hook, and as soon as this hook misses, there really is no fight. They just leave him, which is the correct decision, run back to their tower, and this is another overforce. Same as the mid play, Daystar feeling confident. If Daystar can look for something here, it's a nice sort of double CC chain with a Rakan knockup. The damage was a little bit spread too thin on 2 players, so they couldn't kill either of them. Grab the kill, 1 for 1 in the end. Not too bad for Ground Zero.
The best of a bad situation, right? It starts with them claiming an objective bounty in a 5v4, but then does result in the TP to try and even things out. But despite that, Look, we tab check in and we go, we're still down by 7,000 gold.
7,000 gold and 7 CS for the Flame Horizon. Now 3. Counting down to see this LeBlanc. 222 CS, 223. Gonna one-shot this wave. Look at this. Oh my god, what is that?
It's just beautiful, isn't it?
It's very satisfying as well. And it starts doing that very early in the game. You're able to one-shot the back wave pretty much as soon as you get Static Shiv plus, like, 1 Amp Tome or the Lost Chapter.
This is when we start going through the history books and start to say, right, is this the most unskilled meta of all time? What is this item?
Oh, Tron. He was so scared of the chain. He pulled beforehand. Ends up having to go and flash for it. Ground Zero trying to hold their ground, trying to draw a line where they're not going to allow Team Bliss past, otherwise they won't be able to contest the Baron.
Oh, it is a Baron on spawn here, Fido. It's
No blue
a
trinkets.
Baron that they will know is happening, but do they really have the ability to even walk in to do something about it?
No blue trinkets. Ari still has the red trinket. Everything is down. There's just no way for Ground Zero to contest the Baron, but they can pick Daystar. No Zhonyas.
I mean, look at the time and space he creates, though. He just dashes away, depth charge on his head, says, nice ultimate, bro. Not going to happen.
Yeah, there's just no flashes. There's no flash on the Ari. There's no flash on the Nautilus. How do you catch this LeBlanc that can jump 2 screens away? Okay. Echo, in trouble.
Terrified.
Lots of trouble.
Very scary.
Goodbye.
Run away. He's dead.
Yep, he's gone. 3 items completed for Daystar. Emphas finally picking up his Everfrost, so he can at least provide some CC to the team. Now, the only positive that I would say for Ground Zero is that Daystar is egoing. He's not buying a stopwatch, even though he has a 700 bounty, which is something you probably should do in a game like this, because that's really the only way back in the game. When you're winning this hard, you have to ask yourself, not how do you win, because you are just winning by passively playing a good macro game, but how can you lose the game? And the way they lose is this LeBlanc getting caught.
100%, 1K shutdown, but look how far ahead he is on the overall gold, up by 4K over his closest teammate in Limas, who's by no means underwhelming himself, right? So just such a huge void in strength here. Daystar really is proving that this new build is the bee's knees.
Yeah, and Tron is just so terrified. Whenever he sees LeBlanc on his screen, he's respecting the engage range. It's such a long reach for this champion to poke you out. And yeah, we see the slow siege. Looks like Bliss are playing through 3 lanes because they have slippery champions. Both the side laners very hard to catch. The LeBlanc and the Cassante. Cassante getting a 1v1 off Echo.
Doesn't get much easier for Echo, does it? He's going to say, right, everybody's having a crack at me right now, but this time I might look to try and make it a living reality. I'll get that kill. I'll lock you down with a Calibrim, and I'll look to try and take you down. Gibby says, nah, not today. Carries don't exist. I am the star of the show. My life in the jungle has been miserable. I want more gold for me. They have to continue to defend their base at all costs, because it continues to happen from all 3 positions. And finally, those base turrets do begin to fall on down. They'll turn attention back towards the mid lane as another wave is soon to crash, and they'll prime up and get ready with Limas to make it a reality.
Yeah, and Ground Zero doing the best they can. They're attacking the lane with the least players, the least amount of resistance, trying to get a pick, trying to stall this siege out. But I think inevitably they're going to have to give up some structures.
Yep, Daystar's going to finish off that inhibitor single-handedly, it would look like, because anybody that looks to try and step up to him not make it happen. Out goes the Moonlight Vigil. Followed there by the Charm. It's fantastic. That's what you need. But it doesn't really matter, because on the back end is Daystar and just deletes 2 members right off the get-go. In goes Limas. He's trying to fight his way out of a bad situation. He'll get 2 for his tries. And a shutdown goes the way of Emphas. That must really feel good. But Daystar says, guys, I'll end the game on my own. I don't have a stopwatch, but I don't really have a care in the world.
Oh, that's the most satisfying place to be at the Nexus Towers when the triple wave spawn and you shiv the triple wave. My god, that is a very good feeling. And Emphas, it looks like he TP'd.
Oh, no.
Oh, Emphas?
What is that? He like nearly got 3-tapped.
Wait. Oh, one more shot. That tower was getting
He nearly lost the
amplified.
game.
Yeah, amplified with every shot. And Emphas, just non-stop fighting everywhere.
Certainly is, and it's going to be a battle between 2 Titans, Lived and Gooby. Liv proves that, unfortunately, Cassante just a little bit too much broken. I will not yield.
As soon as you hear that, you know you're dead. That's basically Cassante in a nutshell, and yeah, that fight was looking so good for Ground Zero. The perfect hook landed. They got the AoE Graviton from Athelios, but just the Ari TP came out a little bit too late. I assume maybe he was chunked by Daystar. The Ari is in base right now, waiting to TP. The fight starts. Look at that, Ari walked halfway and then started teleporting. That's really the biggest downside here for Ground Zero. If Ari was here, he would be able to save Tron, kill Limas, and maybe get back to the base in time to defend that tower as well. So we can talk about mechanics all we want. This fight was completely, about positioning, about the timing of the teleport.
That's good insight, as you already highlight, the sort of fact that those small decisions can really make the difference, because that base could have completely been exposed at that point.
And now there's no Baron. but Team Bliss still choosing to siege. I don't think they're expecting to just destroy this entire base. It's more just about keeping Ground Zero in their base, farming their camps on cooldown, and just generating a bigger gold lead passively.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I've got my eyes firmly glued on this LeBlanc, as we have done all game long. The Flame Horizon is long gone. We're looking to try and make it a
double.
double.
A double.
A double Flame Horizon at this point, right? So unbelievably far ahead on the tempo. Those item spikes, I mean, what you'd usually be conditioned to be like, oh, it's around about this time in the game. They probably have 3 or 4. Nah, defying those expectations. 4 items complete at 25 minutes in. This LeBlanc cannot be killed. It's a snowballing champion that is very squishy, but will delete anybody in her sight. There it is, number 8 now, removing the carry, the late game policy, the 5th and final pick here for Ground Zero to Vladimir, removed from the equation, down for 40 seconds. And a 4-man contingency has to defend their base with all their hopes and dreams swoon to really fizzle away.
Yeah, Tron tried his best there, got a double Vlad ult, but it's just the wrong targets. You need to kill this LeBlanc to have a chance in this game. Nice Ophelia Assault.
Yeah, they tried something there, a last-ditch effort, if you will. 2 inhibs dead, a 3rd one would be a luxury, but they don't really need to go for it. They don't care, quite honestly. 1 auto attack from the LeBlanc, and you will just fall on down, as they will take the Hex Gates inside the enemy base to say goodbye.
5 items for Daystar. The recently buffed Rabadon's complete. I would be very curious. We can see the AP numbers now. 441. I guess it's not as much because your first item is not an AP one, but I would be curious to see what the damage numbers on that Shiv look like.
Look, we have to ask our admins after this game happens to see if we've actually broken a record.
We might have, because this base siege is getting him a lot of procs, a lot of chain lightning, and it's just passively stacking up the damage.
That's all you can hope for. That's all you want to see. Because then we can post it online and we can say, look, LCO,
Exactly.
come tune in. We have static Shiv. It's even better here.
Exactly. Make our region great.
And look, I guess the big question now, Fighter, whilst you're here, mate, is when do we get to see you play this?
Next week. I'm ready. I've already been spamming it.
He's been convinced.
I have sacrificed some LP to learn the champion, and I'm ready to play it anytime. This is too busted not to abuse.
You've seen it on stage, you've witnessed it, you've casted it, and now you're thinking, yep, I could play that. LCO gets himself a kill onto Why Not. He takes him down, getting a little bit too overeager to try and close things out with a massive gold lead, up by 11,000 gold. There is a Baron on the menu, but I don't care about that. They say, Ground Zero, we know you have to face check it. Bulldog will knock them all up. They'll come crashing down and say, but you're gone.
Yeah, good play from Bliss. Not getting scared because they lose a champion, just controlling their vision, right? Here, it's not about the numbers advantage, it's just about who face checks. And it makes it so easy for you to land your abilities. And still posturing, Ground Zero, I don't think you can contest this down.
They're looking for more, and they're going to certainly find more. Akia missed the grand entrance, and as a result, will just die in a heartbeat. It's a 1-for-1 so far. LCO actually finds himself a kill, crucially onto Lemus with double summoners up and available. Featherstone was burnt, but it wasn't enough to try and save him. Daystar still topped up in health. He's still without a stopwatch, because that's already been burnt. So now he jumps in and hopes for a little bit more. Procs it off with the chains, another chain, another kill. It's just too easy. It is effortless.
Where's the counterplay? What's going on? Yeah, it was a very good fight from Ground Zero. You look at the gold, they're down 12k, but it still looked like an even fight. They traded 2 for 2 until that last Tron kill, but I think it's just not going to be enough this game.
Not to be enough. It really felt like a game that was knocking on death's door from the very get-go in this when we saw that very early first blood. It's all been about this man in the mid lane, as they'll claim an ace to close it out with the perfect scoreline of a 2-0.
Yeah, and I was worried about it in this game. I was thinking, look, LeBlanc, Ari, this is Emphasis' favorite. Yep. This is the favorite matchup of Emphas, but Daystar just schooled them in this one as well.
And that's always a concern, right? Especially when you are, known for a particular champion and feel like you've just been completely outclassed on it, when you're thinking, I should know this one a little bit better than that, and ultimately has fallen victim to a very informed Daystar that was, I suppose, coming in with a bit of killer conviction. If this is the way mid lane is going to go, this is the way I want to try and play it, this is the way our team as a whole is going to show that degree of confidence that we should be the undying favourites. You saw it even from the Dear fan vote there. Now, I mean, it was like 94-6 or something. Like, everyone was like, yeah, it's a Team Bliss 2-0.
Look, I was trying really hard before this game too to maybe get a few more Ground Zero fans, maybe get like a higher reward, and anyone, putting their channel points on Bliss there.
Bliss not 2-0 at start.
Yeah. It was tough, but it was a fantastic showing from Bliss. I mean, we pretty much were looking at mid lane the whole time, Dajong, and it was tough for Ari is the nicest way I can personally say it.
Once you're versing that static Shiv LB, like, after you die that first death, I feel like it's such a snowball. He just gets Shiv, you're pushing every wave, there's nothing you can do. Like, It's just so rough.
Nearly 9,000 damage on that item alone.
That's close to the LEC numbers. I don't think
That's
we
very
beat
close
it.
to Perks. I think Perks might have got just a fraction more. But hey, we're up there.
We're up there. We're hitting the rank.
That's the social media post. Cut, paste, blast it online, retweet.
LCO is practically LEC.
True and real.
True and real when it comes to stats. How do you kind of bounce back from that, right? Dajong, you're saying you get 1 kill on LeBlanc. It kind of snowballs from there. Not necessarily LeBlanc, right? But in this setting, you kind of snowball from there. Do you just need to have more emphasis around mid lane? Do you kind of just go, all right, let's sack it. That lane sucks. Let's focus on side lanes now.
I feel like it has to get to a point where emphasis has to be like, guys, my lane is really, really screwed. We need to do something, right? Either be a lane swap or giving me a lot of help. Using like 2 flashes to just get a flash of days or something like that. You need something to slow this LeBlanc down, but they didn't really do anything significant to it. And I think he was farming like 13 CS a minute or something. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it was insane. Game wasn't even over and Wynot was already doing his dance there. There were a few times though that I thought we were going to see Bliss close this one out earlier, Fido, but they just weren't able to do it. I don't know if that was just a team of weird pages about how to end this one.
Yeah, I mean, Wynot was just having a bit too much fun this game. But in general, when you are ahead, if you just siege 2 lanes, it's a lot easier not to get picked off. They were sieging the 3 lanes, and you know, Lived ended up dying for it. But they're still getting the structures. Even when they're making the picks, it feels like it's just the inevitable.
41k damage on that mid LeBlanc.
Yuck.
My gosh.
Wow.
It's rough. I mean, look, they got 1 Drake on the side of ground 0. They just fed Bulldog in the meantime.
That's
for it.
good now. I like that. Always look at the positives in life.
Yeah, at least it's not a complete 0 across the board for ground 0.
I mean, they tried. You saw that Gooby went top lane to put the Rift Herald to try and get Vlad into this win composition, but it was a little bit too late. It felt like when they pulled so many people to Rift Herald, it felt a little bit too late.
Yeah, that was the big concern we sort of raised during the cast itself, right? Is that you're committing so much to make this play happen. And it's like, you know, the rest of your team is kind of thinking like, but I don't want to lose my lane even more, right? So it's just like, no, we are making this play. Get the Herald. And then, yeah, I think even you sort of brought up the point that like, okay, but realistically, yeah, if this Vladimir does get fed, who is he ulting? Who is he actually locking down? Who's he one-shotting? And then that one moment in bot lane when he's like trying to chase people down and say, I wish I had Ghost. Oh, stop, come closer. And then, yeah, maybe that quadra kill, I mean, it was looking like it was there for the taking.
100%.
Didn't happen, unfortunately.
Everything was just that little fraction not going in the way of ground 0, right? I even saw it, I think he would have been on sub 40 HP when Daystar was diving that tier 1 tower, flashed in for it.
Just in Gooby's head as well, like just flashing for him like level 6 or something, just flashing on the 2 turrets, and then Wynot and Akia right there to cover him up. Like he's making these really aggressive plays, but his team's always there to back him up, help him snowball his lead, and I feel like Bliss just played really well today.
What would have been an advantageous objective for Ground Zero to take in that spot, right? Because we talked about Rift Herald, maybe it wasn't really the best to kind of pull everyone away from it. Do you still really need to do that? Is it more of a focus on getting these dragons? Do you have to wait until the Baron timing? Like, what is it? How do you delay a timing that you feel someone's able to come online?
I mean, I think the best thing they could do is just Ahri just needs to sack tower. Like, literally, you just need to sack tower and go to the side lane and try and make a dive happen and try and trade towers, try and get gold somewhere else. Because you saw it, every single base, he was losing a plate. He's just losing his health bar, losing a plate, losing 2 waves. You might as well just give up the full 2-3 plates and get 2-3 plates somewhere else. I think that's the only way. But really, you shouldn't find yourself in these kind of positions. These pro games, they're very slow. There's very controlled. There's very few avenues to come back in the game when it's that far behind, right? So I think when they're looking in this review, they're just going to think about, okay, how do we not put ourselves in this position, not how to bail ourselves out.
It's like you teleport all the way home, then you walk out and you're like, oh, great, I've already lost 2/3 of my health. I got to walk all the way back now. That's fantastic. It's tough. It was a very tough loss for Ground Zero, but a fantastic win for Team Bliss. They get that 2-0, which means we get to have an interview because Dajong, you did such a good time with our Daystar interview. I thought I'd put you to the real test. We're going to get Akia on. He's going to be joining us here. Akia, hello. Congratulations on the win. How does it feel?
Hello, nice to meet you.
방금 승리한 거 축하합니다. 지금 기분이 어떠나요?
아직 경기가 많이 남아서 지금은 그렇게 기쁘진 않는 단계이고 결승 끝나고 나서 이겨야지 기분이 좋을 것 같아요.
There's still a lot of games to play so far. Like we'd only just started the split. After I win the finals, that's when I'll be able to feel happy.
Oh, I love
Oh,
it. Already
gee,
looking towards
okay.
the finals. Obviously, you're still very fresh in moving towards Australia. So how are you settling into the team, but also where you're living at the moment?
그 호주 온 지 많이 안 됐잖아요. 지금 어디 사는지 그리고 기분이 어떤지 말해주세요.
지금 브리즈번에서 직원분 집에서 같이 데이스타랑 같이 살고 있고요. 네, 같이 살고 있어요 지금 브리즈번에서.
네, he just said that he's living together. He's living together with Daystar at the moment in Brisbane.
Oh, nice. That's awesome to hear. What do you think has been something that you brought to Team Bliss? Something that they might have been lacking beforehand and you feel you've really added to the lineup?
그 아키아 선수가 블리스에 들어갈 때 아키아 선수가 뭘 가져오나요? 그 실력 선수 실력으로.
보통 움직임으로 제가 승부를 보는 편인데 제가 스크림 때 보여주는 기량에 50%도 못 보여주는 것 같아서 계속 다음부터는 더 잘해져가지고 캐리하는 모습 보여드리겠습니다.
He thinks he's very good at map movements and reading the map. And in stage games, he's not even showing 50% of what he's capable of that he's doing in scrims. So he is looking forward to be able to showcase his full skill.
Damn. All right, Dajong, obviously, if you have any questions for him as well, let us know.
아키아 선수 지금 호주에서 제일 좋아하는 게 뭐예요? 뭐 한국이랑 틀린 거.
호주 좀 한국에는 다 아파트밖에 없는데 여기서는 좀 주택 형식의 이쁜 집들이 많아가지고 그리고 공기도 되게 좋은 것 같아요.
So I asked him, what do you like about Australia compared to Korea? And he basically said, there's a lot of apartments in Korea, while here there's a lot of houses, lot of good-looking houses and pretty houses. And he also said the air here is a lot better.
Nice. Also, very quick one. The pike pick. I want to know, is that a specialty of yours? Is this something you've been waiting to pick out? Or how did you guys come to that one being the choice for game one?
그 첫 번째 판에서 파이크를 선택했는데요. 파이크를 왜 선택한지 말해주세요.
제가 원래 파이크를 대회에서는 안 쓰려고 했는데 그 사람들이 파이크 해달라고 계속 요청해서 한 번쯤은 보여줘도 되겠다 싶어서 한번 꺼냈어요.
He said he wasn't planning to play Pike in professional like ever, but apparently a lot of people asked him to play Pike in pro, play Pike in a stage game. So because of that, he decided to play Pike today and show it off at least once.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you wanted to ask, Dejong? Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us, Aki, and thank you so much for your insight. Congratulations today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much as well, Dejong. I'm so sorry I put you
I'm
on the
stressing.
spot. I know I'm like asking these
You're a
convoluted
natural.
questions.
You're too good.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Thank you.
I do like that the correlation between the two, the air here in Oz is just S tier apparently.
Yeah,
Something we take for granted.
Yeah,
I guess so.
very good.
Maybe that's why they're playing better. They're just like, oh, fresh air.
Could
They can
win a
breathe.
game like, I love life. Yes,
Oh,
smurfing.
Easy to chatting. Who do you guys think is one MVP though? Who on the side of Team Bliss?
A-Star, I think there's
Daystar?
anyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if
Never
anyone
in
could
doubt.
really argue Daystar,
Never in
Daystar. Do you want to argue?
I
could
can't.
go for an argument.
I
Go
can't.
on, throw another name out there, Dejong.
It's not possible. Daystar just smurfed every game. It's just too hard.
Alrighty, well, let's see who the MVP is. If we're all on the same page, of course, it's gonna be Daystar. I mean, this man, 17-0-16, practically an 80% kill participation across this best of two.
Perfect game. The
Perfect.
perfect series.
Yeah.
Deathless, 40% of the damage share. I mean, look, honestly, as a carry player yourself, does not get better than that, does it?
No, it doesn't. And in the picture, he's done the correct gesture here. You know, thumbs down. That was too boring, too easy for him.
You've broken that.
Damn, he's savage.
Okay,
man.
okay.
No, I'm going to need a little bit of a break, try and compose myself, but don't go too far because when we come back, we're going to have our menu log meal time, a little bit of fun in between our best of twos.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. What is their play? Emphasis split from the rest of the team. Scatter the week goes into Arkia. That's what I can find. Gooby also looking to try and save. What is my play? In jumps Daystar, finds the charm, gets exhausted. Whirling X goes out. Nature's Grasp locks them down. Damage has been found, but kills are going the way of Bliss. They found 2 so far. The Dragon, forget about it. A distant afterthought. 3 members dead. Wukong is squishy, but he does big damage. He's found a double. Lived as farmed as he is a...
LeBlanc